splashing her face with cold water. Annie looks at her reflection in the mirror. It has to be done, no matter what obstacles get in the way. To get it done, much blood must be spilled. That's the words echoing on her head, whenever it reminds her of that day. And it is those exact words her father told her. The words that were guiding her till this day. Drying her face with a towel, Annie began to prepare herself. Listen closely, you pigs. Training for the anticipated attack of Titans on Trost will take place shortly. The commander officer of the southern region, Commander Pixis, will also be in attendance. Annie looks at the sky while listening to the bald instructor. Another soldier training. Annie then began to look around and seeing everyone's determined faces. A bunch of ignorant fools. Annie thought of that, but her mind got interrupted by saying fools as she looked at Vincent. Even though he's not from the other side. He's smart. In fact, he is smarter than all of us. Annie had to admit that Vincent is a smart guy and not an ignorant Eldians like everyone's inside the walls, besides the nobles. She knew that Vincent is far superior to her in terms of martial skills or combat techniques, which is strange since he was not from the Marley or outside the Paradise Island. Annie's smile. And if he's here, this soldier training and staying here is not boring. Packing things up, the trainees began to move towards the Trost district. On top of the roof, Annie and his squad mates, Jean and Armin, are preparing to fly at any given second. Wish air. A green flare was fired, signaling the start of the training. Let's go. Jean said that, as Annie looked at him. Why am I in this idiot squad? This is so frustrating. Annie thought that, but her facial expressions never changed in the slightest. Jean. Are you sure we're allowed to push this far? Armin said that as they began to run through the roof of the houses. Our objective is to kill all the Titans that make it through the front line. Stop being so inflexible. We're soldiers, which means we kill Titans. Annie looked ahead of her and said. All you want to do is score more brownie points. Ugh, seriously, what's wrong with this idiot's head? This is blatantly ignoring the commands. Annie's squad saw a Titan model in front of them, but then... Swizz! Something flew past them and sliced the neck of the model. Annie saw her and thought. Mikasa. Besides Vincent, I should be warier of her. Again. Annie's squad saw the two Titans model, but like the other one, some did it before them. Jean is not fit for a leader. Annie thought as she saw the situation they were in. Back at the HQ. Annie's squad just landed. Some people got here before them, and all of them are tired. Then, when everyone got back, an instructor made them lined up and said. Not bad, but don't be cocky. As the dummy Titans do not move like the real Titans. Anyway, you guys perform well, that's all. Dismissed. Everyone sighed in relief, including Annie, and thought. Thankfully everyone performed well, or else, another earful complained by that bald instructor will rain. Annie's eyes began to wander around everyone and spotted Vincent's squad. Vincent, well, not bad to say hi. Annie then began to walk towards where Vincent is located but stopped. As she saw something that made her lose composure. She saw how Vincent smiles and patted Krista's head. She even saw the face Krista was making while getting patted. It was a rare sight for someone like Vincent to smile. She only once saw Vincent smile, and it is when she grasped the technique he was teaching to her. Annie felt uncomfortable the longer she looked. She touched her chest and felt a little pain. What is this feeling? Annie leans against the wall. And saw Jean arguing with Sasha, but her mind is elsewhere. She saw the blissful face of Krista while getting patted and thought. She's only a little cuter than me. Wait. Why am I comparing myself to her? Annie said that to herself, pinching herself to stop thinking about Vincent and Krista. Finally snapping out on her thoughts, she saw Commander Pixis walk out and all the trainees saluting, so she saluted too. And then heard the content on what the commander had said. Cooking contest, he said. Is he really the commander of the garrison? Sigh. Riding on the horse with her squad mates. Because of the stupid cooking contest, the commander had said. Jean thought of the plan that they will capture the wild boar and cook its meat, ultimately winning the contest. But Sasha and her squad are with them. You guys, why? Sasha's nose caught the scent of some prime meat. I'm not just gonna let you take all the meat for yourself. Hiya! Sasha's horse began to speed up and took over them as Jean said. Damn it! Let's go! Inside the forest. Annie was walking at the back of the squad. We're completely lost. Jean. We're not lost, are we? Armin said that towards Jean, but Jean quickly denied it. No. But I swear we've passed that. No, we haven't. Jean said that and pointed towards the broken tree. Look. This tree. You might have seen a mark like this earlier, but we're definitely closing in on it. Had eyes. Being stuck with this idiot is really a bad thing. I hope Vincent is with me, I mean if he's here with us, we will not get lost in the forest. Annie and her squad walked into an open area and saw trees after trees were being cut down, accompanied by a long boar-like roar. That's definitely the boar. Hey 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 hey. Jean screamed and said. Armin and Annie. Let's go. Catching up with Sasha's squad and seeing the boar run fast. It's the boar. And they're here too. It's fast. We'll never catch up to them. This is so stupid. Annie then began to just glide at the back and flew at moderate speed. A while later, Sasha successfully took down the boar. At the dining hall, Annie looked around for some empty seats and spotted Vincent eating by himself. Annie was annoyed at Vincent for some reason, so he didn't talk and just take a seat beside him. She seized her eyebrows and thought. What the hell am I doing? What happened, Annie? Annie heard Vincent and just replied. Nothing. Well, it clearly said that on your face that something happens. Is it really that obvious? He's always sharp. Annie thought annoyingly. She was annoyed at what just happened between Vincent and Krista, so she just replied and gave Vincent a side glance. I said. Nothing, okay. Okay. Seeing Vincent getting silenced by her, Annie then began to think wildly. Why is he not saying anything? Is he perhaps mad at me because of my reply to him? I think I should apologize. When Annie began preparing her speech to apologize, she heard someone called out to Vincent. This *TCH. Annie looked and saw Krista and Emer walking towards their direction. All the speech she had prepared, vanished entirely and just replaced by the scene she saw happened earlier, and. She felt annoyed again. Annie got up and walked away from the table, leaving Vincent and Krista confused faces. At the back of the HQ, Jean called her and Armin. Jean opened his palm. Annie then saw a key as Jean began to explain his plan. Apparently, there's beef in the officer's pantry. I use that. Oh, out of the question. I can't steal it. I've always been slow and awkward. Even in races, I was always last over the line. Even playing hide and seek, I'd never been able to stand the tension and would always giggle. To actually steal something. I can't do that. This kid is insane. Hey! Where are you going? Armin began to run on the stairs, but slipped and hit his knees on the hard floor. Ah! Sorry, Jean. With this battered body, I don't think I'll be of any help to you. Inside a room. Armin with bandages all over his legs. This is beyond stupid. Annie then began to walk towards the door while saying. I'm out too. I can't risk getting caught. But, Annie, I thought you aimed to join the military police as well. Sorry. I can't have anyone investigating me. Not that we got here so far. I don't want some stupid contest to ruin our mission. The cooking contest, Jean Boy had won, by cooking an omelette. It was stupid, it is beyond stupid, but it was the result. Annie looked at the cheering audience. She saw that Vincent is not here and thought, he's probably training and not like these idiots who watched this idiot commander host a cooking contest, and eat in front of them. Annie began to walk back towards the room while thinking, why am I even thinking of him? Chapter 22, Lost Girl, 2. When they entered the wall, Titans followed them, because of her. As they entered, Annie saw. She saw the guy that got eaten with despair look on his eyes. She saw how the guy tried his best to fight the gigantic hands that were squeezing him tight. And then, their eyes meet. She saw and felt the emotions that were conveyed in those eyes. Why won't you save me? Why are you the one that is alive and not me? Why are you just running with your life, and not you the ones in my position? Slowing them down as they busied themselves upon my flesh. Why? Why? Hugh. Breathing out as she woke up, dreaming that torturous day they entered the walls. They were just kids, not knowing what's right and wrong. They were given one mission. And it is to get the founding titan, not knowing what's out there, and not knowing who's out there. Getting up again and washing her face with cold water. Annie gets ready cause. It is another mission, as a soldier. Riding a horse with everyone. Annie looks in front of her and sees everyone's tired expression, except for. She looks behind her, seeing Vincent's who's looking at the deserted plain. He might feel that someone is looking at him, as he looks exactly in her direction. He nodded, as a sign of greetings, and Annie nodded back too, in response to his greetings. Setting up a camp in the forest. Thomas, their leader this time, began to list out things to do. It is almost night time, we need food and sticks to light up. I hunt for food. I'm great at hunting and finding foods. Annie saw that Vincent volunteered himself, so she decided to go with him for the sake of convenience, but I go with Vincent in hunting food. She looked at the one that spoke that and saw Berthold. This guy, why is he doing this? Sure. Annie saw that Vincent agreed, so she dropped the idea of going with him and just stuck to picking up sticks. Drop your ODM gear and give it to Dawes. He's the one that will keep it safe. We all don't want to carry this heavy ODM gear in this easy training. Here's mine too. Vincent and Berthold undo their belts and give the ODM gear to Dawes. Let's go, Berthold. Why yes. Annie saw that Vincent and Berthold had left. And so she volunteered to pick sticks. I go pick sticks. Here. She said that and began to walk towards the forest to pick up sticks, before leaving her ODM gear behind. Annie was all alone picking up sticks. While doing this, she began to think of a certain someone. Thankfully I'm not grouped with Jean, and at last group with Vincent. I wonder what Vincent was doing. Walking back towards the gathering. Annie saw that everyone was in great dismay. Are you sure? Mikasa questioned Dawes, as Dawes answered. There's no doubt about it. This was where I put it. But, everything that we kept safe here. And even our ODM gear is gone. Everyone's ODM gear has gone. This is bad, without ODM gear, we're totally harmless. Over here. Annie then began to survey the surroundings and saw a campfire. She then told everyone about it. They've been gone for quite a while. It's the same as what Vincent has found over there, Mikasa said and questioned Reiner how many people are involved. Also, over here. Annie saw Vincent appear and pointed at something. Carriage's tracks. It's probably a gang of thieves, Reiner said that and continued. It seems they found out where the weapons were placed, and stole them during the time we're gone. They gather ODM equipment and make black market deals. So we're being targeted. Even if we caught them in the act, we would have been helpless to stop them, Mikasa said that while looking down the carriage tracks and footprints. You should probably be happy that you're still alive. She's right, but also wrong at the same time. With Vincent here, no one can defeat him. Annie thought that and looked at Vincent, who suggested everyone to continue and tell Marco's group about it. He always has that unmovable expression of his, but deep down he worries a lot of things. He's almost like me. Night time. Annie began to look around for something to kill time. And she stumbled upon this lake. She was entranced by the lake's clear looking and pure light it was giving off. She looked around and saw Vincent. She then walked towards him and sat beside him unconsciously. Vincent then noticed her. She looked at the lake and said to Vincent, "Isn't it beautiful?" She said that and pointed towards the lake. She waited for a second before Vincent replied to her with, "Yeah, it is beautiful." Annie looked at Vincent and saw him smile at her while saying that. "I know, right?" Annie and Vincent began to make some small conversations. Light but fulfilling conversations. Annie did not know or remember where the last time she smiled so genuine. But now she notices that she can smile too, and it was very genuine. Annie looked at the lake and thought to herself, "I admit it. I'm really in love." Annie's training with everyone this time around ended well. They got the ODM gear and caught the thieves without getting someone killed. This training, they passed it. Annie returns to her bed. As she lay down, she remembered the conversation she had with Vincent. Smile couldn't help but appear on her face. And on that day, Annie slept with a smile on her face. Is it tough, Annie? But we do all this so we can do our duty. Doing your duty. That's the whole reason you were brought into this world. And to fulfill this duty, you must do what you have to do. It doesn't matter if the world becomes your enemy, it doesn't matter if the whole world hates you. Father will be on your side. So, promise me. Promise me, you will come back. Opening her eyes, she remembered what her father had told her. She must come back, at all costs. Yes, she will do it. Annie reverts to her usual self. Cold and aloof. As for the things that happened yesterday, it was all forgotten. Annie then began to do her daily routine, training, and training. One day, someone said that to her. "Annie, aren't you tired already? Can you just rest for a moment? You have done enough." "I'm not tired. I will do this until I'm satisfied." "Okay, good luck then." After the girl left, Annie dropped down to the ground. Panting and with a haggard breath. This is not a place to practice. Annie's POV. I began to push up and exceed my limits like everything I always do while thinking. I have to do this. This the sacrifices to fulfill my duty and come back home. There's no time to rest. There's no need to take a break. And then I saw it again. The person in front of me was the person I watched die, the person I killed. I met his eyes, and saw and felt the emotions conveyed on those vacant eyes of his. "Why did you kill me?" Those words hit me, as I fall to my knees. Tears can't help but fall, as I saw thousands and thousands of people get killed because of me. Sorry. She has to do it. Sacrifice has to be made. Someone has to die. Why? Because this world is cruel. She's gonna do it because this is her duty. Finding herself leaning on the tree and crying, she began to curl on her knees, her tears falling down endlessly. Every day was a torture. Every dream is a nightmare. She's done enough, so, please. Please. Somebody. Somebody, please. It can be anyone. Somebody. Please save me. She cried, sitting beside this lonely tree, perfectly depicting her pathetic self. Annie, are you crying? And then, on her biggest sorrow, he found me. Looking up, and seeing him, she couldn't help but said, "Aren't you cool?" Appearing on the perfect timing. "Hey, what are you saying?" "Yeah. Really, what am I even saying? I might really look uncool and crazy at this moment. Come on. He reached his arms in front of me, as I lightly grabbed it. He pulled me up, on my feet. I don't care what you are even crying about. But the next training will begin. You want to be at the top 10, right? And if you're late, you will get an earful from the instructor. He said that and began walking towards the training camp. I looked down on my hands and thought. I know I have sinned greatly, but can't I be selfish for once? Author's note. Thank you, Gold Demon, for being my first ever patron. Copied Holy Joker's famous scamming technique, and it is, every plus 1000 Power Stone will get plus 1 bonus chapter. Check out my p.a.t.r.e.o.n. Patreon link, https://www.patreon.com/canyoumakateclear. p.a.t.r.e.o.n deals. $1 equals 3 advanced chapters plus Patreon only Q/A. $3 equals 5 advanced chapters plus Patreon only Q/A. $5 equals 10 advanced chapters plus Patreon only Q/A. $10 equals 10 advanced chapters plus Patreon only Q/A plus 1 strands of my divine hair. Join my Discord server. Discord link, https://discord.gg/47j45fv. Happy Halloween! Enjoy! Chapter 23, Graduation. Year 850, the graduation of 104th military trainees drew near. A/N, the thing you guys have been waiting for. Time skip. Nighttime and the graduation ceremony began. Shinzu wo Seisajiya. Hands upon your hearts. Sir. Standing in front with his fellow top trainees, Vincent looked towards the instructors they knew for the last 3 years and taught them a lot of things. He was grateful for that. That's why he was now saluting, with his hand upon his hearts, doing the last salute he will give to these awesome backbones of humanity. For you, trainees graduating today, 3 paths now open before you. You can be stationed at the walls and defend the cities as members of the garrison. Or you can put your lives on the line to fight the Titans in their own territory as members of the Survey Corps. Or you can serve the king by controlling the crowds and protecting order as members of the military police brigade. Of course, only the 10 people with top scores we announced earlier are allowed into the military police. A/N, insert epic song. In front of everyone on the 104th military trainees. 10 people with different goals, missions, and even ideologies are standing with their backs straight. Top 10 ranking. 1 Vincent Glaze. 2 Mikasa Ackerman. 3 Rainer Braun. 4 Berthold Hoover. 5 Annie Leonhardt. 6 Aaron Yeager. 7 Jean Kirstein. 8 Marco Bott. 9 Connie Springer. 10 Sasha Blouse. A/N, epic song end. At some pub where all the 104th military trainees gather and party. Sitting by his side is Annie and Krista, accompanied by Emer. What department are guys joining? Vincent said that as he ate the food that was in front of him. I'm joining the Survey Corps. Vincent looked up and saw Krista, the one that said will join the Survey Corps. Are you serious? I am serious. Vincent looked at Krista's eyes and saw her shaking a bit, but determined. You're weak. I think if you join the Survey Corps, you will die on the first expedition. Even if that happens, I will still join. Krista lowered her head and sighed, a bit of relief if he would say. Pat pat. Vincent suddenly patted Krista's head to her surprise and said. Then, if you're that determined, I guess we will be a team. Vincent. You're joining the Survey Corps. Yet. And one thing. If you ever feel alone or no one can accept who you are, just come find me. I'm your friend now, and possibly a teammate. Krista looked at Vincent, smiled, and nodded. I will. Then. Slap. Emer slapped Vincent's hand out of Krista's head and said, "Vincent! How dare you? And you Krista, how can you let him touch you? I'm fine with him, Emer." "How can you say such a heartbreaking thing to me? I feel betrayed." Vincent looked at Emer and thought. Emer. With her personality, she will likely follow Krista and join the Survey Corps. Even though her personality is a bit problematic, I guess, Krista will be slightly safe with Emer protecting her. Vincent looks at Annie, who's currently eating on the side. "Annie, which department are you joining?" "Military police." "Oh, I guess it will be best for you if you join there. With your combat techniques and things I taught you, military police is the perfect place for you." Then. "But you can't possibly win." A commotion took place again, surrounding Aaron. A boy who's practically walking dead, or should I say, suicidal bastard, as what Jean nicknamed him to be. "You know full well. You know just how many have been eaten by them. We've lost more than 20% of the entire population already. Mankind doesn't stand a chance against them." He then lowered his head, as he said that. "So? You're just giving up because you think you can't win?" "Well, it's true. We've suffered only defeats so far. That's because we knew hardly anything about them. We can't defeat them using sheer numbers. We may have lost, but the knowledge we obtained from those battles is our guiding beacon of hope. Yet you'd discard the tactical progress bought by hundreds of thousands of sacrifices, just to save yourself up on a silver platter. You gotta be kidding me. I'll kill every last one of them and break free of these walls. That is my dream. Mankind hasn't lost everything yet." Aaron left the scene. Chasing after him were his childhood friends, Mikasa and Armin. Vincent sighed and looked around, seeing them with ashamed looks on their faces. "This is the truth. Titans are powerful, but I'm not exactly normal either. I have a power, but with only that, I can't possibly kill all of them. Such a hard thing to do." Vincent just threw that away for him tomorrow to accomplish. He then looked at Krista, who stayed silent, and asked, "Krista, are you still joining the Survey Corps, knowing you will be eaten someday?" "I will join." Had eyes. "I'm not stopping you from joining, but Krista, if you die I will be sad." "You will be sad for me." "Yeah, everyone in the 104th military trainees will be sad for your death. Such a cute thing died in the stomach of a titan, they will practically be going crazy if they heard that their goddess died." Krista blushed as Vincent called her cute and thought. "He called me cute. He said that I'm cute. Vincent said that in front of me. How could he be so bold? Hey, hey, hey. Again. Krista, don't fall for his petty tricks and sweet words. Guys like him tend to trick cute and naive girls like you." Emer protested as she told Krista all the dirty men's things will do. Walking out the bar and waving goodbyes with everyone. But, Annie is the only one who didn't leave. "Annie, is there a problem?" Annie stayed silent and just looked down at the ground. "Let's go, where do you guys rest?" Vincent said that and began to urge Annie. Then, Annie spoke. "Vincent, do you hate me?" Vincent stops walking and looks towards Annie. "Why would I hate you? I did many horrible things. I sure if you know, will hate me." Vincent looks up at the sky and continues walking, but stops on the bridge. Annie followed him, hands clutched on her shirt, trembling. "Annie, look at me. I can't. I'm afraid." Vincent looks at the trembling Annie and holds her hands. "Annie, look at me." Annie looks up and meets Vincent, who's smiling down at her. "Annie, I have known you enough on this 3 years of stay in military training camp. You're not a person who will do such things. You're a lazy person in a sense that you only bring all you got when training and sparring with me. You don't like troublesome things, and like to stay away from them. Even though I didn't know your past enough or know Annie in the past or knew what you did. But, I only knew one thing, and it is the Annie in the present. The Annie who likes to hit me in the face, to get revenge on everything I do when we're training. The Annie who hates Jean and Aaron's idiotic way of thinking. The Annie who sparred with me almost every day. Annie, if you ever feel telling all the things you want to say to everyone, or even the whole world, just like what I said before, just come and find me. If you get forced to do something, just come and find me, and I will save you. Annie's eyes couldn't help but tear up, as she heard what Vincent had said. Vincent saw Annie crying and couldn't help but pulled her on his chest, stroking her back to comfort her. Annie couldn't help but hugged him, and cried on his chest. And lastly, the Annie I knew, is the best. Vincent! Where are you? Connie and Jean were walking on the street, searching for Vincent who went missing. HAAA! Vincent, where are you? Connie screamed loudly, which disturbed the people living. Boya, it's night time. Stop screaming. Sorry. Jean, at the back, was happy watching Connie get scolded by a grandma. What's with the deal with that old woman? She started ranting and slapping with her wooden stick. I just only scream once. Connie was annoyed, so he declared. The first thing I will do when I join the military police is, I will tell that old woman to push up 50 times in front of me, non-stop. Jean, are you considering what Aaron had said? Hey! Don't bring that guy here in our conversation. Whenever I remember his face, I got pissed off. Jean was annoyed. He then looked at the bridge across him and saw two people hugging each other. Shit! What a poser! Sooner or later, Mikasa will fall for me. Then, he blinks. And then blink again. Connie, is that guy in the bridge looks familiar? Isn't Vincent right there? Ah! Connie and Jean looked at each other and made a grin. They sneakily walked closer and saw who Vincent was hugging. Unexpectedly, it is Annie. They knew Vincent fully well, and they knew that Vincent and Annie were only practiced partners. Even though they teased him sometimes, Vincent only brushed their teasing, so they stopped doing it entirely. But unexpectedly, they saw this scene. Author's note. Thank you, Gold Demon, for being my first ever patron. Copied Holy Joker's famous scamming technique, and it is, every plus 1000 power stone will get +1 bonus chapter. Don't question my sanity and ego. Check out my p.a.t.r.e.o.n. Patreon link, https://www.patreon.com/canyoumakateclear. p.a.t.r.e.o.n deals. $1 equals 3 advanced chapters plus Patreon only Q/A. $3 equals 5 advanced chapters plus Patreon only Q/A. $5 equals 10 advanced chapters plus Patreon only Q/A. Gonna do this until I had 10 patrons, so it might here till the end. Happy Halloween! Enjoy! Chapter 24, The Chapel. Next morning, Vincent woke up and saw someone was with him, besides his bed. Looking closely at the person besides Vincent, you can tell that it was a legitimate, real girl. The girl began to move. Opening her eyes, and seeing Vincent smiling down on her, the girl blushed and said, "You're so ferocious last night. Not holding back for a frail girl like me." Vincent smiled as he heard the girl speak, and said, "Who's ferocious?" "Annie, you didn't stop sucking down there." Annie blushed as she recalled the night's event, never believing that they really did it. Then, one more time. A/N, this is too evil. Ha 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 ha. Did I get your hopes too high? And yes, that was just a trial. I'm really not gonna do it, maybe in the future. This is too early for development on that route. Anyway, have a good day. Next morning, Vincent woke up early as usual, stretching his arms as he yawned. He looked around the room and found his 3 roommates still asleep. Looking at their log-like state, Vincent began to think of the night's event. They really pestered me about yesterday's event. Even Marco found out about it. Vincent did his morning routine, eat, exercise, and took a bath. It was his daily routine that he got used to. It didn't matter what time or where he was, he would always do his morning routine. Getting out of the bath and wearing his trainee suit. Vincent saw that all of his roommates were not there. They woke up, already. Vincent got down and found them eating. Connie saw him and waved his hand, and gestured at him to come to them. "You guys really woke up this early?" Vincent said that and sat down beside them. He then saw Jean's smirking face, as Jean said, "Vincent, like I said before, you can't hide this to us. Are you and Annie dating?" Connie and Marco look at Vincent with a smile, but a teasing smile. "Hi. Like I said before, we're not dating. But what happened on the bridge, that night? As I said before, it was a secret between me and Annie, but you guys always interpret it as we're hiding something and we're dating. No need to deny it, Vincent. Even though I didn't see it, hearing that Annie cried really makes me wonder what happened," Marco said to Vincent. Yeah. Tell him, Marco. Vincent is really like that. We're all brothers but he's like that, and never disclose and always hide something from us," Connie said that. "Connie. Do you see how Annie was tightly hugging Vincent that night? Yeah. I thought she was cool and strong. I didn't think she was this weak, besides Vincent." Ha 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 ha, the two laugh. "Did you see her face when she found out we were peeking at them? Ha ha ha, she really did blush and run. I didn't know Annie could do that face too." After hearing those two talk, Vincent couldn't help but face palm. He really wanted to smack these two idiotic heads but decided to just let it be. "Had eyes. You 3, I'm gonna go somewhere." "Oh. Can't wait to see your beloved Annie." Jean smirk, standing up and telling Vincent quietly. "Vincent. Everyone will know about it sooner or later, and just admit it and be happy." Jean then pointed his nose at Connie and continued, "Look at Connie. With his tongue, he will really gonna spread it." "Hoy! What are two talking about? Had eyes. Anyway, see you guys later." Vincent left the inn. Vincent walks towards the dilapidated chapel. He then knocks 3 times before the door opens. It was opened by a little girl, who was surprised and jumped at him, hugging him, before yelling at the chapel. "It's Brother Vincent! Everyone, Brother Vincent is here!" The little girl then grabbed Vincent's hand and began dragging him in the chapel. "Wow, Brother Vincent is really here! Yeah, hey! Delicious foods again!" Seeing their smiles, wipe away all the negative thoughts Vincent's had. He played with them, gave them some food. And then the door opens as 2 ladies walk in. Vincent looked and saw Krista and Emer. "What are you guys doing here?" "Krista saw that you're not with Jean, Marco, and Connie. So she thought you would be here." I just want to, see you." Krista was embarrassed to say that, so she just dragged her sentence and stuttered in the process. "Well, since you're here, then help me entertain the kids." "Yes, I will help you." Krista immediately said that, walked towards Vincent and the kids, leaving the damn-funded Emer at the side. She really got trick. Christ, you already forgot about me, whenever Vincent is near. "I love you, Krista, please marry me now. This chapel is a good place to do it." "Emer. Or could it be, you want him to be your?" Krista was shocked and ran, covering Emer's mouth. Blushing heavily, as she glared embarrassingly at Emer. "Emer. What are you saying? Don't say that again, okay?" Vincent shook his head at their antics and thought. They really are close. Walking out of the chapel with Krista and Emer, Vincent waves his hand towards the kids. Sniff. One girl began to cry, so Vincent patted her head to calm her down. What's wrong, Tina? B. Brother V. Vincent, are you going to visit us again? If I have time, I'm gonna go visit you guys again, okay? Vincent patted her head to calm her down and said. Be a good girl, okay? Omu, okay. Vincent began to walk, as Krista and Emer began to follow him. You really like kids, Vincent? Emer asked. Yeah. Did you become a soldier to protect them? Well, that's just a part of the reason. Vincent stopped and thought of the kids he grew up to, and sighed. Then what is it? Everyone has one or two reasons to join and become soldiers. You two have it too, right? Let's just drop the talk of that, and be respectful for everyone's dreams. Vincent said that and began to walk towards the HQ. And then, rumble. Like a huge hammer that hits the ground, everyone jumps in surprise. Vincent was stunned and thought that this was familiar, and then he remembered. He used his ODM gear and flew up the roof. Krista and Emer followed him too. He looked up, precisely towards the walls, and saw the colossal titan. They are here, again. What? Krista said that and stuttered and began to fall back on her step, but Emer caught her and said. Krista. Calm down. Boom. As Emer said that, a huge like explosion sounded on the walls as rocks and debris began to fly. Then, Vincent saw. He saw one of the huge rocks, flew towards the place he protected. The chapel. Memories of the past events began to flash on his head, clenching his hand to endure the pain. Krista saw the rock and thought of that too. That our rock. Let's go. Follow me, Krista and Emer. Vincent said that. His face was calm, but his eyes were not. It was the eye of a person who can do anything. Author's note. Author is sick and tired of being criticized. Author is not happy and wants to end this fast. Author will be rereading every chapter published 10 times. Author is really bad at English, hope the readers understand. Author will do his best to not make everyone sad, hoping that everyone really understands. And yes, the first panel of the chapter is the punishment. Hope the readers learn their lessons. If the readers didn't learn their lessons, the kids in the chapel will really die. Author hopes everyone will be happy, and stay healthy. Author words to all of you. Shinu Aiku. Check out my p.a.t.r.e.o.n. Link, https://www.patreon.com/can you make it clear. 10 chapters in advanced. I'm not hoping for plus 1000 Power Stone, but if we got into top 20, I will publish bonus chapter. Chapter 25, First Ever Mission. A/N, I should have known better. I never thought that the majority of my readers are psychopaths. Scary, too scary face screaming in fear face screaming in fear. Asking the kids to die. You all sinners. Repent right now. This is Tina. Click to see. As you see her, repent your sins. Pray that you will never have that thoughts ever again. Vincent and the others use their ODM gas and fly as fast they can, fearing that the kids at the chapel will be crushed to death by the flying rocks. WSHH WSHH WSHH. Vincent and the other two, Krista and Emer, flew and followed Vincent from behind. Vincent is really awesome. He's flying so fast. Krista said that and looked at Vincent's back view. Emer looks behind her and sees the destruction the colossal titan made. Hundreds of houses and even thousands of people had been crushed by rocks and other infrastructure material. 30 seconds has passed since the colossal titan attacked, and no titans had made it inside the walls. But this will not last long, as the soldiers from the front lines will be overwhelmed sooner or later, and in the end, be killed by the titans. Vincent flew left and right, and then on the last turn, he saw the chapel. It is safe. Vincent sighed in relief, but his speed never slowed down. He looked at the side of the chapel, seeing the crushed house, and thought in fear, just a little bit and they will die. Thankfully they had not been hit by the rock. Vincent landed in front of the chapel and opened the door. Vincent saw a woman, calming down the crying kids. "Aunt Mary. Are all of you safe?" The woman, named Aunt Mary, turned around and saw Vincent. She sighed in relief and said, "We're all safe. Luckily no one was hurt. But all the kids got scared and started crying. Fortunately, you're all safe. Let's go and get out of here." Krista and Emer finally arrived and saw Vincent with the kids and Aunt Mary, the adopter of the kids. Krista sighed in relief, seeing none of them was hurt. "Vincent, where are you going to take them? No time to think. Let's get them out of here first, and find a garrison soldier to lead them out of this town." Vincent and the two ladies escorted them out of the chapel. The main road was in chaos, as many people started running in the same direction. Crying and running in panic were all the common things people would see in this kind of scenario. Vincent then saw some garrison members, pointing where to go. They're all pretty full on their hands, so asking them to lead a group of people is too much to ask for. And then he saw Paul. "Paul! Paul!" Vincent shouted, seeing the familiar face of the guy who knew him. "Paul!" Paul looked left and right, hearing that someone was shouting his name, and finally saw who it was. Pleasantly surprised, Paul saw Vincent. He jumped down the roof and landed near Vincent. "Vincent, this is not the place trainees should probably go to." "I know. But, can you lead them to safety?" Vincent pointed towards the kids, as Paul finally noticed them. This. "Please Paul, I'm begging you." Vincent looks at Paul, determined for Paul to take them in. Fine. You owe me twice, okay? Don't forget that." "Thank you." Vincent, seeing the kids finally in good hands, sigh in relief. Krista looked at Vincent with an astonished face. She never saw Vincent this determined and even begged someone. He really likes the kids, that much. Vincent looked at the two, who's looking at him with different expressions, and said, "Let's go back to HQ." Landing quickly in front of the HQ. Their arrival got noticed by the garrison member stationed in the HQ. "You three, you all late. I'm not gonna lecture you guys, as Titans are already swarming the hole. Go fast towards the supplying area and replenish your equipments." "Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir." The three saluted and began running towards the supplying area. They already knew where all the area on this HQ was at, as they already practice it on Trost training when they're all still recruits. Supplying area. You recruits have completed training and graduated into proper soldiers. I expect you to actively participate in this operation too. Vincent with Krista and Emer were filling their tanks with gases. Krista was trembling a bit, but Vincent only cast a glance on her and started filling his tanks up. He knew fully well that Krista needed to fight her fear or she might be dead on any second she stepped on the battlefield. Emer was calming down the scared Krista and looked towards Vincent, whose eyes were steady and arms never trembled one bit. This guy. He really deserves to be the number one in the 104th military trainees. He only panicked once, and it is where he thought the rocks will hit the chapel. He only shows his weakness, whenever there's a kid or children involved. And he is, ultimately a jerk for not comforting Krista. Emer looked towards the trembling Krista and said, "Krista, it is not the time to be afraid. Look at Vincent, he's never been afraid." Upon mentioning Vincent, Krista looked at Vincent and began to stop her trembling hands and said, Thank you, Emer." She really stopped when I mentioned Vincent's name. What should I do? Vincent is really a jerk for not comforting Krista, but Krista got comforted and stopped trembling when I mentioned his name. This is really worrying me. Standing in the middle of the open field at HQ. All trainees were gathered as the person in front of them, told them the details and plans about this upcoming mission. And their first ever mission. Just like in the training, split up into your individual squads. You will be under garrison command. Your duties are to assist in providing supplies, communication, and sweeping up the Titans. The first line of defense will be the front line unit of the garrison. The second line will be the cadet squads under our command. The rear guard will be the garrison's elite units. We've already received word that the vanguard has been annihilated. The outer gate was destroyed, and Titans have encroached upon the city. This means that the armored Titan might show up any moment to breach the inner gate. As the person in front of them said that, all the recruits are in panic and scared as of what outcome they will have. That's no way. If even Rose falls. But the chatter was cut off as the garrison captain that was in front of them shouted. Silence! The front-line guards are already in combat. There is but one goal in this defensive operation. Defend Wall Rose until every civilian has evacuated. Also, in case you forgot, let me remind you that desertion is a capital offense. Vow on your hearts to devote your lives. Dismissed. Sir. Author's note. Top 20 equals +1 bonus chapter. Top 10 equals plus daily uploads. At least I have a dream. Check out my p.a.t.r.e.o.n. Patreon link, https://www.patreon.com/can you make it clear. 10 chapters in advanced. Hope you guys enjoy. Chapter 26, Elite Squad. After that, everyone did whatever preparation they could. Looking at everyone, and seeing most of their faces. Shock, disbelief, and even some threw up in fear. Some even sat in the corner, trembling. He then spotted Connie and decided to approach him. Besides him are his squad mates, Sasha. Connie, can you do it? Connie looked up and saw Vincent, lowering his head, and looking at his trembling hands. To be honest, I don't think I can do it. I'm only good at operating the ODM gear, fighting the real Titans. Impossible, that's impossible. It's okay to be scared. What are you saying, Vincent? I'm already scared and... Connie looked up and saw Vincent's serious face. It's okay to feel afraid. I didn't ask you to fight the Titans. Just survived, surviving is enough. You will survive and go to military police tomorrow. You can do it, I know you can. Vincent said that with a serious and grave expression, just to show how important Connie is to Vincent. Okay. I will survive. Then Connie looked at Vincent's eyes and said, survived too. Don't worry, I will never die. Sasha too, be careful and watch each other's back. Don't worry. I will do my best. Okay then, I'm gonna go to my squad mates. Where's Marco and Jean? Vincent thought that and began to look around. Recruit Glaze. Vincent looked behind him and saw a garrison captain. Sir. You and Recruit Ackerman were specially assigned to rear guard. Come with me and get Ackerman too. Sir. What about my squad? We need to get all the elites we can have to protect the rear guard. Don't worry, people from the garrison will protect them. Okay. Then, let's go and search for Ackerman. Vincent followed the garrison captain and thought. Jean and Marco, be careful. Vincent and the captain garrison, Ian Dietrich found Mikasa. Recruit Ackerman. You will have to go to rear guard with Recruit Glaze. Follow me. But I'll only slow them down. Vincent looks at panicking Mikasa and just watches. I'm not asking for your opinion. The evacuation is falling behind. We need as many skilled soldiers overseeing civilians as possible. When Vincent heard that, he thought of the children, and thought of Paul. He's a trustworthy person. He will never break his promise. Let's hope that they have already evacuated. Vincent then saw Mikasa and Aaron fighting. Aaron passed by him as he then said. Good luck surviving, Aaron. You too. Vincent looks at Aaron's back, and then at Mikasa's lonely figure. Mikasa, let's go. Mikasa nodded and began to follow Vincent. Vincent sighed at Mikasa's current behavior and thought. Mikasa's weakness is Aaron. If Aaron dies, I guess she will lose motivation to fight Titans, or maybe she will be motivated to fight. But the worst scenario is, she will die with Aaron. Mikasa. If the evacuation becomes faster, you will see Aaron faster. Don't become so down right now. Aaron will survive. He looks like a reckless kid, but he had a will to live. He will definitely survive. Mikasa heard what Vincent had said and looked at him. Her demeanor changed and became sharper. You're right. Aaron will definitely survive. That's right, we will live, and overcome this situation. Vincent meets up with elite garrison members, who are getting ready. The captain, Ian, noticed them and said, "You two, we will wait first for everyone, before going to the rear guard." Everyone waited for a while, and seeing the last member join, Ian began leading them. "Let's go, everyone." "Sir." As they began to fly towards the rear guard, they noticed that Titans had penetrated deep into the city. They dispatched some to stop some advancing Titans and even kill some with their combined effort. Vincent began to observe everyone who's in this squad. To be honest, Vincent was pretty disappointed with everyone in this group. He thought that with Mikasa's skill and only being a trainee, everyone that graduates will be below or higher than her. It was all Vincent's wishful thinking. But it compensated with their courage to face Titans head-on, truly a good mentality. But it will never truly compensate for their lack of skills and ability in killing Titans. As they flew near the gate of Walrose, they saw a Titan running straight towards the people who'd still stuck at the gate and were evacuating. They flew near the Titan, but the Titan just ignored them and began to excitedly run as it got close towards the sea of people. "Damn, why is it ignoring us?" one of the guy asked loudly, screaming his frustration as one of them answered him. "It's an abnormal. Don't think too much about it. It's fast. Even we elites can't catch up to it." Vincent, positioned at the back, heard their conversation, and thought. So that's what abnormal Titan looks like, hey. It was really random and dangerous. He then looked towards Mikasa, who had been flying at the same altitude as him, and said. "They can't kill it in time, I didn't expect they'd be this weak. Let's go, Mikasa." Let's kill it." Mikasa nodded and began accelerating. Vincent then began to accelerate too, following and overtaking Mikasa and the abnormal Titan. He then flew down and hooked it across buildings and with a swing of his swords, cut the calf of the Titan, bringing it down on its knee. Mikasa then got a perfect chance, and shot a hook towards the neck, swinging her swords, and killing it with one strike. Mikasa is really strong. If not for my previous memories and skills to make me strong, I didn't think I would pass her on the military training. And one thing. I don't really think she's giving all she got on military training, which is pretty damn scary. Vincent then looks at Mikasa, and sigh. It really all comes down to talent, hey. He then flew on top of the roof, as everyone in the squad began to look at them with different light. These people are pretty damn weak. It can't really help though, they don't have the talent, and it was pretty good to have the courage to face Titans. He then looks at Mikasa and sighs once again. I'm pretty foolish for making her my standard soldier strength. I thought that all the trainees will be accelerated on their growth outside when they will be fighting Titans, but it was the other way around. Their strength will be the same as they were in the military training camp, and I can't ask too much, as they are not the only department. Survey Corps, if the strength of the Survey Corps only exceeds these people a little, I'm really gonna start to lose faith in humanity. He then looked at Mikasa, who is now fighting with the fat guy who's blocking the gate, and thought. But if it is possible to have one humanity with Mikasa's strength, then, it will be possible to have 10 or more. It really will be fucked up if she's really the only one. Then he began to think of Mikasa's weakness, and there's only one, and it is Eren Yeager. Truly a love-struck fool. Author's note. Check out my p.a.t.r.e.o.n. Patreon link, https://www.patreon.com/can you make it clear. 10 chapters in advanced. Hope you guys enjoy. Chapter 27, Rearguard Defense. After the withdrawal of the carriage that was blocking the gate entrance, everyone in the elite squad began to gather. Ian Dietrich, their captain in this operation, began to order them around. As they all saw his and Mikasa's strength, they all began to position them slightly in the front line of defense. Vincent didn't complain since he wanted to test his strength against the Titans. That guy earlier is an abnormal one, so he wants to know what is his shot against normal Titans. Recruit Glaze and recruit Ackerman. You will go there and must not let Titans pass towards the rearguard area, understand? Ian pointed. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Saluted and began to fly towards the said area. Even though it is not directly in the front line defense, and but only in the second level of defense. They all have a heart at least that they didn't completely throw them in the front line of defense. Vincent and Mikasa landed on top of the roof. Then they spotted 3 Titans, 2 10 meters, and 1 12 meters. Vincent then began to look at the 2 Titans and thought. Perfect. Even though one is slightly bigger, I can leave it on Mikasa to handle. Mikasa, I will handle the 2 10 meters Titans, and you go handle the 12 meters Titan. Can you do it? Vincent then drew his swords as he answered. I am not the number one for nothing, Mikasa. WSHH. WSHH. Cutting down the 2 Titans, and killing it, Vincent began to think. It was easier than I thought. His aim was precise, as he cut the Titan's nape, as it serves no to zero resistance on cutting. Despite their big sizes and humongous strength, their flesh is pretty weak, or in other words, light. Vincent can't really imagine these guy biological structures were made of. Plus, these guy is pretty big in sizes and an easy target for hooking and cutting their nape. He then flew towards Mikasa and saw the 12 meters, Titan, on the ground, lifeless and decomposing. Did you get hurt? No. I thought so, it was a really big disappointment if she got hurt by that one guy. That's good. He said that and began to look ahead of him. And began to ready. Because there are more to come. After a couple of hours of fighting, Vincent and Mikasa began to fly back towards the rearguard to know the situations of the citizens and their temporary squad mates. As they flew closer towards the reed area, he saw that the garrison elite tried to kill the Titans, but they all slowed to kill it. He then looked at Mikasa as Mikasa looked at him and said. Like always, you handle the right, I handle the left. Let's go. Ding. 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 Helping the garrison elite kill the remaining Titans, they all look at heard the bell rings on top of the gate exit/entrance, whatever you called it, as it began to close. The garrison captain looked at the bell, on top of the gate, as he then began to face his squad members, and ordered them. We're withdrawing everyone, and you two recruit Ackerman and recruit Glaze. Climb up the wall. Hey! As he heard the captain speak, Vincent's assumption was right. Just like I thought. Every garrison elites here are safe, and everyone in the vanguard and front lines are to slow down the Titans, so we can, the elites and the citizens swiftly and safely evacuate and retreat. As he thought of that, Mikasa began to accelerate towards the distance, as the garrison captain tried to stop her and called out to her. I'll support the vanguard's withdrawal. Hui, trainee Ackerman. Sir, I will follow Mikasa to support vanguard's withdrawal. Vincent said that as he followed and accelerated towards Mikasa. Mikasa began to look at him in gratitude, as Vincent only nodded in return. I can't let Mikasa die. She's important as her skills is immense and her talent is immeasurable. Vincent and Mikasa flew towards the vanguard. Titans after titans try to stop them and possibly want to eat them. But with their skills, it was an easy thing to escape. They saw bodies, recruits, and citizens, even some garrison members' bodies were laid down the streets dead or in the Titan's stomach. As they flew, Vincent and Mikasa noticed a group of people. All of them were trainees as he knew all of them. Landing on top of the roof, Vincent began to observe their behavior and faces. They really got hit hard. Faces of hopelessness and despair, crying and mourning for their lost comrade and companions. Vincent then began to think when they saw them in this kind of state. He then came to Marco's side and said, "Hey! Everyone should hear the bell, right? We're all low in gas." Marco said that and lowered his head, as he looked away. Vincent was surprised and tapped his gas tank and thought, 20% remaining, this is all the gas I had left. With this, I can climb up the wall safely, but, all of them will be left, fate unknown. Minimum gas usage. Vincent tries to use and incorporate different styles of flying, using a minimum amount of gas. He knew that gas management would be the hardest thing to do, so when he thought of that on Trost training, he began to search for alternative ways to use gases in flying with a minimum amount, and all of it paid off in this situation. Vincent closely observed the uses of gas and ODM gear as a whole. At training camp, he will always take notes and study the different uses of gas to accelerate things when they're flying. With that, Vincent can now efficiently use his gas sparingly, but can still kill Titans. He knew the weakness of Titans, and he would run the roof if he needed to just to save gas. The physical strength that he's been building up was not for nothing. Him going for efficiency and not speed to kill Titans. But, it doesn't mean he didn't know how to do it. Kill Titans at zooming speed. Mikasa then began to search for his beloved Eren, but met with bad news. Author's note. Wow! 800 plus power stones. I really appreciated your all support. Hopefully, we will reach 1K this week. Hehehe, anyway, hope you guys still enjoying the chapters so far. Peace. Have a great day. Wait. 2K calls special. One bonus chapter this week. And if we reach 1K votes, another one. Ha ha ha. Hope you enjoy. Check out my p.a.t.r.e.o.n. Patreon link, https://www.patreon.com/can you make it clear. 10 chapters in advanced. Chapter 28, Armin's fail-safe plan. He looked at Mikasa, who kneeled down at the same height as Armin. Armin then started telling their squad demise. Our unit. The 34th Cadet Unit. Thomas Wagner, Nick Tews, Milius Ziramusky, Mina Carolina, and Aaron Yeager. All 5 of them have fulfilled their duty and died heroic deaths in battle. Armin said that with tears streaming down his face. He looked up at Mikasa, whose face didn't change the whole time. Everyone was appalled by this piece of news and thought out loud. No way! So the 34th unit was nearly wiped out. If we fight the Titans, we'll end up like them. Murmuring through their breath, and some even have faces full of horror, as they remember the fate of fighting the Titans, causing their teammates' death. He saw Mikasa stand up, and suddenly look at him and said, Vincent, if we take out the Titans around the HQ, we can replenish our gas supplies and climb the wall. Is that correct? Vincent nodded in response. But it was impossible, there's just too many. Marco said that, but Mikasa didn't hear it or ignore him, and didn't even consider what he said. I will lead and kill all those Titans there. I'm extremely stronger than all of you. I can kill all of them alone. You're either incompetent or you're spineless cowards. How pathetic. You can sit here and suck your fingers. Yeah, do that. Mikasa said those words without emotion showing on her face and pointed at everyone. Mikasa. What are you saying? You want to fight all those Titans by yourself? There's no way you can do that. Everyone didn't want Mikasa to die, so they said in response, as Mikasa responded with an emotionless voice. If I can't, then I'll just die. But if I win, I live. Unless I fight, I cannot win. Vincent, I will open a path. You will lead then towards the HQ. Mikasa then began to fly towards the HQ as she said that to Vincent. Vincent watches Mikasa fly away, as everyone looks at Mikasa in horror, imagining her demise on her way to HQ. Jean walks towards Vincent and asks him. Vincent, what should we do? Can we do it? Are we going to follow after Mikasa? Vincent closed his eyes for a second and began to think. My first priority is my life, second is the children and kids, and lastly, my comrades fighting with me in this world. Short maybe, I grew fond of them and sad at the fact that some of them are dead. In Vincent's eyes, everyone in the 104th military trainees are like the kids he raises. He all taught them one thing or two. And lastly, Mikasa was a valuable person to be killed this early. With all these reasons, Vincent knew the answer he must take. Let's go. We follow Mikasa, or we all be dead here. Flying and running from building to building. Vincent looked at Mikasa, who was flying at a whooping speed, and thought, as he looked at her waist where the ODM gear was located. This is bad. The amount of gas Mikasa is using to fly this fast is too huge. If she didn't stop, she will lose gas sooner than us. Mikasa, slow down. Your gas will run out fast if you don't stop. Vincent reminded Mikasa as he shouted towards her. But Mikasa didn't hear or ignore what he had said, and just flew at a whooping speed. As everyone heard that, they looked at Mikasa in worry. As expected, Mikasa ran out of gas and fell down the building. Vincent saw where Mikasa fell and followed her without a second thought and said towards Jean. Jean, lead the others to HQ. And everyone, just follow Jean and keep going. Vincent flew down as Armin followed him. Jean, Marco, Reiner, Berthold, and Annie. With them leading the way, I can rest assured they will get to the HQ. Vincent thought of that 5 people. They are all smart in their own way, and can all be a leader. As for Connie, he really is not that smart. Vincent flew and saw Mikasa behind the Titan. He flew down and picked Mikasa up, as Armin landed with him. Mikasa, are you hurt? No, I'm fine. Armin said that as Mikasa answered. As they conversed, Vincent's mind was in a mess. Vincent didn't hear what their conversation was all about, and just watched in shock as the previous position where he picked Mikasa up. A Titan was dead. But this is not a normal kill. The Titan was dead with its head crushed to mincemeat. Vincent then began to think. Can Mikasa do it? No. This is impossible, strong as she may be, she can't do this kind of thing. Then, who did this? Vincent. This is bad, there are 2 15-meter Titans. Alerted by Armin's voice. Vincent looks towards the 2 Titans that were in front of them. That Titan. With a booming sound. The other Titan sent his own kind to its death. Punching its head, and kicking its nape. Vincent looked at this scene and began to think of many things. A Titan fighting its own kind. Knowing the weakness, and even knew how to hand-to-hand combat. Is this Titan, perhaps, trained? Or it is an abnormal Titan who knew to learn. But it said that Titan were all dumb. Wait. It's even ignoring humans. What is this? Vincent began to think some mumbo-jumbo theory, but stopped and said to himself. First, let's get out of here and go somewhere safe. Which is up in the walls, and if we want to climb it, we need to have a lot of gas. Vincent then began to throw out all his theories and just thought of the plan on how they could escape here. He then heard the 2, Mikasa and Armin arguing about the gas of Mikasa, and then saw how Armin willingly gave all of his gas to Mikasa. Armin, stop whining. I will carry you towards the HQ. No one will die here, got it. That's impossible. No. We will do it. Armin is smart. He had good observation skills and had high intelligence and learning speed. He might be weak on the physical side, but it compensated with his mind. Vincent then grabbed Armin's hand and said to Mikasa, "Let's go. This will be a big gamble. I can't let these two die here. They are all strong in their own right and Vincent is not gambling without a high chance of winning. He's not that kind of person who likes to gamble." They began to run on the roof. It serves as to not use gas unnecessarily. When Vincent was ready to tell his plan, Armin suddenly broke free from his grasp. "Hey, Armin! Don't start fighting now!" Frowning at Armin, Vincent looked back at him and said, "Wait. Listen to me. I got a suggestion." "A suggestion?" "This operation will be carried without burdening you two, so you two should decide whether to carry it out. I know it's crazy, but couldn't we use that Titan? That abnormal Titan that kills his own kind?" Mikasa said that and pointed towards the abnormal Titan. "Yes. As you can see, it's only attacking Titans and seemingly uninterested in humans. So, I was thinking of luring it to the supply tower somehow. If it handles the other Titans for us, we could get everyone out of this alive." "Lure it? How?" Mikasa questioned, as Vincent thought. "Lure it? It wasn't a bad idea, but pulling it off." Vincent then looked towards Armin with greater interest, waiting for the other party to speak his plan. "I think it acts on instinct. If the two of you defeat the Titans in its vicinity, then it'll start looking for other Titans. And most likely, it'll move towards the Titans swarming around HQ. Author's note. My first bonus chapter. Yay! Hope you guys like the chapter. Thank you again for 2K collections, and this is all I can do, send bonus chapter to all of you. Asterisk if we can hit 1K Power Stone, 1 bonus chapter. Asterisk if we reach top 20 in the end of this week, 1 bonus chapter next week. Asterisk if we reach 3K calls/collections, 1 bonus chapter. So, share. 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 He. And another thing. Thank you for the top 5 voters, Macklemore, Toons, Canton, and Masked Void. And for the rest of you guys, thank you, very much. Vote. 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 And thank you to my 4 patrons. Gold Demon. Time Long Gone. Lucifer Rivkin. Andre Nunn. He. Check it out to read advanced chapters. Patreon link, https://www.patreon.com/can you make it clear. 10 chapters in advanced. Bonus chapter. Chapter 29, Family. Titans in general would go towards the place with many people. But this Titan only fights its own kind, and if we reverse it, this Titan will go towards a place with many Titans. Most likely the HQ with many people hiding in it. And if my hypothesis is aligned with Armin, if we kill the Titans in its vicinity, it would likely go towards the HQ that has been swarming with Titans. And if we go there, we will be unhindered by Titans, because then someone will attract and kill it before us. And it is that abnormal Titan. Vincent finished his internal monologue, as Armin began to explain his plan. And Vincent's hypothesis is not far off, of what Armin's plan was. Even though it's risky, it is at least worth a try. With that, Vincent agreed as he said, "Let's go with Armin's plan. Me and Mikasa will kill all the Titans in its vicinity. And you Armin, don't do anything too stupid. Just stay put here, we will pick you up after we kill all nearby Titans." Armin hesitated and said, Wait, are you really going to rely on my plan? What are you saying Armin, your plan was perfect. Mikasa said that with a smile. Really? Armin said that with shining eyes, as Mikasa said. If we're facing certain death, either way, the path to take is the path with a chance of victory. Seeing the two interact, Vincent sighs in relief and thought. Thankfully, Mikasa is not acting strange anymore. After the death of Eren, Mikasa has not been herself. Shaking his head, Vincent then said. At least it's worth the shot than blindly going towards the HQ. Well, if you say it that way. Vincent nodded and looked at Mikasa as he said. Let's go, Mikasa. Mikasa and Vincent then run towards the building where Titans are nearby. Mikasa, go kill that guy. I will go for that guy with an ugly face. That's far. What about your gas? Don't worry about it, unlike you all here, I have plenty more to spare. With that, Vincent then flew towards the furthest Titan. After he killed it, he started going to Titans near him. After that he got back towards where Mikasa was at, and in the process, killed all the Titans that he spotted. Flying towards the HQ, Mikasa asks Vincent. Vincent, can your gas make it? Still manageable. Like I said before, I have some spare left unlike you all. Then, with that much gas in you, how can you not climb up the wall? With that, you will surely be saved and not struggling down here. Armin said that and looked down. And then saw a shadow approaching him. He looked up and saw Vincent. Am I that selfish? Am I that weak? Is that what you see in me, Armin? And no. I am not saying that. You have a chance to leave here, and with you being the number 1 in 104th military trainees, you can do it and no one will blame you, but instead, you do this, and help us. Vincent then patted Armin, stopping him to speak. What are you saying, Armin? We all eat on the same roof. We all live under the same roof. Number 1? Does that matter? And saving you all, is there a reason? Yes, there's no need for a reason. Vincent then thought of the kids in the chapel, the kids adopted in his previous life, and all the people in 104th military trainees. He does not need a reason to save them. Why? It is because saving your family doesn't need a reason. Vincent said that towards Armin, who's about to cry on at his speech. Remember that, Armin. Vincent looked at the Titans and thought of all the people in 104th military trainees. Even if I deny it. These 3 years of training, bantering with everyone, training with everyone, teaching Annie, or even teaching Jean and Connie. It was all a fun experience. Sighing to himself for being sentimental. Vincent looked at the abnormal Titan who's fighting its own kind and said. Let's wait for that Titan to start walking towards the HQ. And if it does, we will fly with full speed, understand? Vincent looked at Mikasa and Armin as the two nodded in understanding. But still, I can't believe Armin's plan worked perfectly. The gamble paid off. Mikasa and Armin is still alive. But I can't celebrate too early, as we're still halfway through the HQ. My gas is depleting too from killing the Titans. As for Mikasa, Vincent walked towards Mikasa and tapped her gas tank, and it was almost empty. Vincent frowned as he thought, and Armin was looking at Mikasa in worry. Then, Ruh! The abnormal Titan roared loudly and began walking towards the HQ. Everyone looked towards the abnormal Titan, as Vincent said. I didn't think it would be this low. Mikasa, don't use your gas anymore. Why? Vincent then picked up Mikasa like a luggage, same for Armin, and said. Wait. What are doing, Vincent? I'm going to carry you too, and Mikasa, if I drop you, start flying towards the HQ at full speed. I will carry Armin with me. Wait, it will deplete your gas faster. Mikasa said that in worry. Carrying a person in midair will undoubtedly use a lot of gas, and for 2 people getting carried. No time for talking, let's go. Now. Vincent threw Mikasa midair and said. We're close towards the HQ, don't stop, Mikasa. Vincent said that and began to go at full speed too. If I use my flying momentum and calculate it with my flying speed, I might make it in time before it depletes. Slowly speeding and accumulating momentum. Vincent recalls his high school days, and couldn't help but think. School is really important. Vincent couldn't help but be amused in his own thoughts. He then slowly and surely began to speed and said to Armin. Armin! Do not move. Mikasa looks in front of her. She saw the abnormal titan begin to pick a fight. He couldn't help but be worried about the two and look back. She then saw at the distance. Mikasa saw Vincent closely following her and thought. How can he be that fast, with Armin on his back? She then shook her head. He really is amazing, thought Mikasa, as she crashed on the window in front of her. Not long after, Vincent crashes too with Armin in his arms. That titan really didn't attack humans but only attack its own kind. Mikasa, Vincent, Connie, Jean, and Marco were glad that Vincent was fine and alive. Vincent looked around, seeing that only a few were here compared to before. Too many people die. He then saw Annie look at him in worry. Vincent only nodded to her. Now is not the time to speak to her. Vincent, you're alive! Krista exclaims in surprise and runs towards Vincent, holding his hand, expecting if he's injured. I'm glad you're fine, Vincent. Krista breathed a sigh of relief as she smiled and said. Vincent then patted Krista's head and said. Because of Armin, we're all alive. As he said that, people's attention shifted towards Armin. As Armin began to stutter in embarrassment and how people look at him as a hero. I think that Titan's abnormality is that it slaughters other Titans. He then pointed at the Titan and continued. And it's not even interested in attacking humans. If we play our cards right, we can all get out of here alive. Everyone then began to mutter in confusion. We'd use the Titan. You'd rely on a Titan's help? That's more delusional than any dream. And then Mikasa interrupted as she said. It's not a dream. I don't care if it's abnormal or whatever. Just let it rampage here for as long as possible. Realistically, that's our best option for survival. When everyone was alarmed by this, Vincent then began clapping his hand to gather everyone's attention and of course stopped patting Krista's head. We will now use that Titan to buy us some time. And with that, we had to somehow gather and go to the supply room where we will fill our gas there and get out of here alive. Author's note. Towards everything I say about the flying speed, momentum, etc. I don't know if I'm right or completely wrong. But I'm confident I shouldn't be too far off. Anyway, hope you guys enjoy the chapter. Peace. Patreon link, https://www.patreon.com/can you make it clear. 10 chapters in advanced. Asterisk if we can hit 1k Power Stone, 1 bonus chapter. Asterisk if we reach top 20 in the end of this week, 1 bonus chapter next week. Asterisk if we reach 3k calls/collections, 1 bonus chapter. So, share. 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 Chapter 30, Aaron is a Titan. Everyone from the supply group of trainees was somewhat alarmed and even scared at the prospect of going down the supply room. Vincent noticed this and so he walked towards them and asked. How many Titans are there in the supply room? The supply team was scared as one of them answered Vincent. The last time we checked it. There are about a total of 8 Titans there. Oh, one of them even eat one of our teammates. The one that answered that, dropped down to the ground and sobbed pathetically. Everyone looks at her, and yes, it is a girl that spoke. No one mocked her as everyone has lost at least one of his/her squad mates, so everyone can empathize with her. Vincent sighs and looks at Armin and Marco. Armin, Marco, let the three of us think of a plan. Vincent would like to know more about the Titans at the supply room, but seeing the state the supply squad group was, he stopped this thought and just let them relax first, before asking them. It might not be a pleasant answer, but Vincent will make sure they will survive this time. HQ supply room, first floor. We found it. They're military police supplies, though they are covered in dust. Jean said that as he and the others brought out boxes. Inside of it were rifles, many rifles. Will 3 bullets be enough? And, do these guns even work against the Titans in the first place? Jean asked Vincent, as he replied. It's better than being unarmed. Even if there are still 8 3 to 4 meter class Titans in the supply room, blinding them all at once isn't impossible with this much firepower. Vincent said that and nudged Armin to explain the plan. First we'll use the lift to lower a large number of people into the center of the chamber. Next, they'll fire directly into the face of all 8 Titans at once, blinding them temporarily. And the next instance will decide everything. 8 other people hiding near the ceiling will swoop down to attack their weak spots while they're blind. In the other words, if we follow this plan, we'll be gambling everything on this single attack. The whole point is for 8 people to kill all 8 Titans simultaneously. The 8 people should be the most physically capable ones, and have to shoulder the burden of everyone's lives. Armin looked at the 8 people in front of him as he lowered his head and said, "I'm sorry." Armin said that, as everyone encouraged him. "Don't worry." Connie encouraged him, as Reiner added. "Whoever fails, all of us will die. The risk is the same." Hearing those words from his friend, Armin stuttered in worry. But, I'm nobody. Is my plan really the best option?" Marco looked at Armin and said. "We've got no choices except your plan. There's no time left to think. This idea's our only shot. Now, we've just gotta give it everything we've got." Vincent looked at this scene and thought. In a time of crisis ones show their true face. Mikasa then consoled Armin as she said. "Don't worry. Be confident, you've got a talent for reasoning out the best solution." Vincent looked at Armin in encouragement and said. "Armin, don't think too much about it. I pick you and Marco to help me plan. Your plan was the most doable and I will be the one responsible if everyone dies. So the only thing you should do is think and leave everything to me. Me, Mikasa, Jean, Berthold, Reiner, Annie, Sasha, and Connie. We are the one that's skilled in this area. And the 7 of you, be ready. We will be the one giving them the final blow." Vincent then began to instruct everyone on their duty. Vincent was a strong and reliable person, as 2 people looked at him in different light. Armin looked at Vincent's back in awe and thought. Aaron, Mikasa, and Vincent. They are all strong compared to me, who's scared of Titans. Can I be strong like them, someday? As for the other one, I let your imagination run wild. The lift's ready. The guns too. All of them are loaded." Vincent then thought. Killing 1 Titan would be easy for me and Mikasa. But I don't know if my other teammate can. He then approached Annie, who was startled at his arrival. What is it?" Annie stuttered on her words, as she asked Vincent. "Can you kill a Titan?" "Don't worry, I can do it." Vincent nodded and began to look at everyone. Annie was probably uncomfortable at what Connie's eyes were giving in as he looked at their direction, and so she said. "Is that all? If so, I'm gonna go first talk to my teammates. Good luck." Vincent looked at Annie's back and thought. Is she still embarrassed about what happened at the bridge? I guess she is. Vincent then began to approach Connie and Jean, asking the 2 if they could do it. Killing Titan? Of course, I can do it. It might be hard, but I will try my best. The lift went down, as the 8 began to climb up the metal that connected towards the lift. As the lift goes down, Vincent and the others remain in their positions, ready to pounce and jump towards the Titans. The people in the lift pointed their rifles in front of them. The direction where the Titans would be coming at. Every second feels like a minute to them, as their brain operates at the maximum speed. One by one, Titans come close, making the people in the lift scared as they saw their natural enemies face to face. Then, fire! With a shout from Marco, every gun fired at the Titan's eyes. When the Titans got blind, the 8 people ran on the metal surface and jumped down. The position where they jumped in is close to the weakness of the Titans, hoping it will higher the chance of them from killing it. Without a sweat, Vincent killed his target. But then, on his right was the Titan Berthold was supposed to kill was alive. Berthold freaks out because of this and runs in his direction. And not only that, Connie and Sasha's target too was alive. The 2 not yet dead Titan turned around and looked down towards Connie and Sasha. Shit! Vincent can't help the 2, as he was dealing with the Titan that was in front of him. Berthold passes by him, running scared. Vincent didn't bother about Berthold and just looked at the Titan that was in front of him. He saw the Titan dived in front of him with its mouth open wide. He then dodged the Titan as he jumped to the side and rolled to the ground. He then got up and ran towards its neck part, and with a swoosh, killing it. He searched for the Titans that were coming towards the 2. But, they were now gone. No, they were both killed by Mikasa and Annie. Mikasa! You saved me! Sasha shouted. Vincent sighs in relief and then asks the people on the lift. Is that all of them? Yes, that's all of them. Then, come down and start stocking up on supplies. Make sure to go back up and pick the people that were still up there. Yes. After he said that, he approached the terrified face of Berthold and asked. Are you fine? Why yes, I'm fine. Thank you, Vincent. Berthold thanked Vincent, as he nodded and walked towards the gas tanks. After filling his gas up and restocking his blades, Vincent then got up and walked towards the sulking Sasha and Connie. I surrendered to a Titan. How can I look everyone in the eyes now? Sasha said. I spank you for that later. Let's just get out of here quickly. Connie said. Connie is right, Sasha. We need to get out of here, alive. But first, are the 2 of you hurt anywhere? Vincent asks. I'm not hurt. Sasha muttered. Don't worry, the Titans can't hurt me. Connie boasts as he got a smacking in the head by Vincent. You're not hurt, but almost dead. If not for Annie rescuing you, you will be dead meat at the Titan's stomach. Anyway, you guys just be careful next time. Vincent walks at everyone, inspecting if they are all right. With a nod, Vincent shouted. Are you all ready? Yes, we're ready. Then, let's go. Swoosh swoosh. One by one, the trainees began to fly towards the walls. Vincent got ready and again inspected his gear, when he noticed Mikasa and the others, on the roof. Curious, he goes and flies towards them. Oi! What are the 6 of you doing here? Let's all go. That's right. Vincent is right, let's all go. We can't be allies with Titan. Hey, ally with Titan. What Titan? Armin then pointed towards the rampaging Titan and said. That Titan, Vincent. Reiner said that if we could save that Titan we could be allied with it. Ally with a Titan you say? When Vincent was thinking things, the rampaging Titan fought and killed a Titan as it did its final roar and went down. Looks like it burnt itself out. Jean said that and prepared to leave. Vincent looked at the back of the Titan and couldn't help but be astonished. It was a person that came out of the Titan, and it was Eren. It was Eren, who was supposedly dead. Mikasa then got down along with Connie and Reiner and brought Eren up. Mikasa cried and even Armin's face was about to cry. Eren, is a Titan? Or could it be, he can transform into a Titan? Vincent looks towards the dead Titans outside the HQ. He can see at least 7 Titans dead. In a daze, he heard Jean speak. Then Eren, did all of this. Vincent snapped out as he thought of many things. Eren can kill this many, he should be on the human side, but I can't trust him yet. But if he can do this, he will surely kill many more in the future. But, is Aaron a Titan? Or he can transform into one? This is confusing. But we need to hide this, as it might danger Aaron's life. Sorting out his thoughts, Vincent spoke in a grave tone. No one will say anything about this. This will be kept a secret. Everyone agreed on what Vincent had said. But first, let's get out of here and climb up the wall. Vincent sat down at a table near Jean. He looked up towards the sky and couldn't help but mutter. What AF *CK up world, this was. Author's note. How I notice people thought that I'm following the story without any changes. But worry not, as in chapter 34, you can check out the Patreon to see the titles/spoilers, and you will see the huge change I made. Peace out. Patreon link, https://www.patreon.com/can you make it clear. 10 chapters in advanced. Asterisk if we can hit 1k Power Stone, 1 bonus chapter. Asterisk if we reach top 20 in the end of this week, 1 bonus chapter next week. Asterisk if we reach 3k calls/collections, 1 bonus chapter. So, share. 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 Chapter 31, A True Soldier. Vincent sat down at a table near Jean and looked up at the sky and couldn't help but mutter. What AF *CK up world, this was. Looking around at his surroundings and seeing the faces of everyone. The loss of friends, loved ones, and even their own family, the family of 104th military trainees. He looks to his right and saw Marco stopping Dawes that scared cat from committing suicide. Soldiers and even some civilians wanted to commit suicide, not wanting to be eaten alive and be dead in the stomach of a Titan. But Vincent couldn't blame them, as this world they live in. The world's humans were not at the top of the food chain. And the Titans dominate the world in fear, and humans hiding in their cages, like fattened sheep. Living behind the walls where even their safe haven could not keep them protected forever and slowly get eaten by Titans. But Vincent's goal never waver, as the sizes didn't matter, as long as they have a weakness, he can kill them. Jean drank the bag of water on his hand and said. Good thing we were sworn to secrecy. Everything's already enough of a mess as it is. If they found out about Aaron. Vincent looks at Jean and everyone that swore secrecy on Aaron's secrets. Jean. No lies have been left untold, as long we live here in this cramped world surrounded by walls. Sooner or later, the world or the people living behind this wall will find about it, so don't be naive and think that it will never be found out. How? We're the one that saw Aaron comes out on the Titan's nape. As long as no one told about it, it will never be found out. Vincent shrugs his shoulders and walks towards where Krista was. He saw the state of Krista. Fear was apparent on those blue eyes of her. Emer was with Krista, patting her back to ease the fear Krista was feeling. Vincent then saw Emer signaling him to calm down Krista. So he walks in front of her and said, Krista. Krista's head shook a bit before looking up and seeing Vincent. She muttered. Vincent. So, are you still joining the Survey Corps? Vincent asks Krista, seeing her in this state. He couldn't help but be worried since he knew Krista was a kind and gentle girl. He was with her in a team more than once, and every time they teamed up, Krista was the one that cheered and cared for everyone if there's someone injured. Seeing her die will be a total loss to humanity. A long silence descended between the two, and even Emer looked down at Krista nervously. I'll still join. Krista looked up and responded towards Vincent firmly. Unlike her previous state, before she talked to Vincent, Krista was now more determined to face the Titans. Krista. Do you know what you're saying? You got scared, trembling, and was about to collapse a while ago, and you're still saying that. I'm fine now, Emer. Krista said that and stood up and looked Vincent in the eyes while saying with a firm voice. I will still join the Survey Corps. Vincent looks at Krista in a new light, impressed at her fast change in attitude. Even though Krista said that in a firm voice, Vincent can see her legs trembling while standing up. He didn't point it out as to embarrass her. And just nodded while saying, Good luck then. He then began to walk towards where Annie was at and saw her talking to Reiner and called out to them. Annie, Reiner. Annie and Reiner simultaneously look at Vincent's approaching figure. Reiner looked at Annie sideways, as he saw Vincent approaching them. He then smiles while looking at Vincent. Yo! How are you two? Can you guys still fight? Vincent said that as he greeted Annie with a nod and said to the two. I'm fine, Reiner said and flexed his muscles while saying. I can still fight Titans 100 rounds. Good. As for you, Annie. Can you still fight? I'm fine. A little tired. Annie said that as she fixes her hair and hooks it to the side of her ear. Then took a rest. Then see you two, gonna check on Jean if he can still fight. Vincent once again saw Jean daze on the seat. He then smacks his back, to wake him up, scaring the help out of Jean. What? What the hell, Vincent? Saw you dreaming and have to wake you up. Then don't scare me. Sorry, but can you still fight? Why are you asking me that? I guess that we will stay here and fight Titans until the Survey Corps comes back. The Survey Corps got out of the walls this morning, and even if they travel at their fastest speed, it will take them 3 hours or even longer. Jean heard that and couldn't help but sigh in exhaustion, and answer. I'm gonna join military tomorrow, but look what we have here. Titans again breaching the walls. Stay alive. Vincent said that and stayed silent, the same as Jean. Looking at everyone, Vincent couldn't help but think that the Titans scared the hell out of them, making their usual skills and performance on training drop. 50% of their skills can have them utilized under the effect of fear. For Vincent, this news is a bad thing, considering that they're fighting mortal enemies, the mankind enemies, the Titans. Then, boom! A booming sound was heard near the walls. Everyone panicked at the sound of the explosion. A cannon shot. Then one of the trainees pointed out, seeing a rising smoke near the wall. Look, smoke! It's inside the wall. What's that? What's going on? Was the gate broken? That's the most fortified place. It can't be. Everyone has experienced the Titans a while ago, so the slightest commotion or cannon shot can make them freak out. Then Vincent heard Jean say. Could it be steam from a Titan? Titan? A Titan that could break walls? The armored Titan? Or could it be? Then Vincent saw Reiner, followed by Bertolt and Annie, used their ODM gear as Vincent followed and quickly flew where the smoke came from. Quickly approaching where the smoke was, Vincent saw row upon row of soldiers from garrison, circling or trapping someone and pointing their gun on where the smoke originated from. Inside of it, Vincent could see the huge skeletal figure of a human, and Vincent immediately thought of it as a Titan because of its massive size. Vincent then looked up on his right and saw a cannon pointing towards the Titan, one thing to fire once more. Looking down again on the Titan, a headless Titan, as he saw the head of it fall. Vincent had a hunch that inside of that smoke, he knew them. And Vincent was right as he saw the figure rush out of the smoke. It was Armin. And with that, Vincent could confirm that the Titan was Aaron. Vincent saw Armin stop running ahead as the garrison captain shouted. As everyone in the garrison pointed their guns at Armin. Stop! You finally showed your true colors, monsters. I'll signal. I'll signal the cannon. The garrison captain said that and started pointing at Armin, and threatening them that he would signal to fire the cannon. He isn't the enemy of mankind. We're willing to share all the intelligence we've gathered. Intelligence? Hey! Interesting, what is Aaron hiding about? Vincent thought as he heard what Armin had said. He would not intervene in this, as he was curious too on what Aaron was capable of. He will not endanger his life on protecting Aaron, as in the end of the day, Aaron was a Titan in Vincent's eyes, and sooner or later, he will have to kill him. Vincent marks Aaron as to kill when he sees Aaron get out of that Titan's nape. This is what Vincent thinks. Every Titans must die to end mankind's suffering, and reach his dream. Armin said that, but the garrison captain didn't get convinced as he said. Begging for your lives is useless now. He revealed his true form right in front of us. There's nothing left to say. If you say he's not an enemy, prove it. If you can't do that, I will eliminate the threat. The garrison captain said as Armin said in return. There's no need for further proof. The issue isn't how we see him. What? You said everybody saw him. Then they must have seen him fighting the Titans too. And they must have seen all the Titans ganging up against him. The Titans see him as prey, just like the rest of mankind. Nothing you say can change that fact. Vincent looked down, impressed by what Armin had said, and couldn't help but smile and praise him. What a reasonable and completely true argument. He didn't reason but just said the truth, cementing his ground, his point, and Aaron's usefulness to humans. Really, what a smart guy. I bet the soldiers are struggling in their inner thoughts. What Vincent had thought were right, seeing as the soldiers lower their guard slightly. But this truth didn't, or the garrison captain couldn't accept, as he shouted in response. Prepare to attack. Don't fall for his clever trap. Their actions have always been beyond our comprehension. If they can transform into humans and speak our languages, that's just another way for them to fool us. We can't let them do as they please. Vincent looked towards the garrison captain and thought. He doesn't believe, no, he feared it. He uses the unknown as beyond our comprehension, using this to make the soldiers know that they're fighting the unknown, a human that can transform into Titan, instead of a normal human. Vincent then looked again towards Armin and thought. Armin, what can you do? Then what Armin did next made Vincent smile and said to himself. One last time. I will trust you, Armin. Armin then saluted as he said loudly, practically screaming his soul out, and said. As a soldier, I swore to devote my heart to the resurrection of mankind. There's no greater glory than dying for that belief. If we added his Titan power to the might of our armies, it might even be possible to recapture the town. For the glory of the human race, I beg you. In my final moments before I die, permit me to explain his strategic importance. As Vincent heard what Armin had said and was about to jump when he saw a bald old man stop the garrison captain. Commander Pixis. Chapter 32, Retaking Trost. Vincent looked towards Reiner and others and said. Let's go back first, and think later. Vincent then flew back towards the camp, followed by Reiner and the others. Vincent. Jean said that as they landed. I saw you about to jump towards Armin. Yet. So. I don't want to intervene on your decision, but how see? Jean. Vincent said that, and saw everyone that followed was curious too, as they clearly saw Vincent was about to go and save Armin. He interrupted Jean and said. The thing Armin said, Vincent smiled and said. It was amazing. That's all. Yet. Everyone was in disbelief at Vincent's response. Let's go. Vincent said that and began to walk towards the camp of soldiers. Inside the camp, while inspecting his ODM gear, Vincent and Jean were together. Vincent. What? What do you think they will do to Aaron? Don't know, probably Armin is thinking right now how they can close the wall's big hole with Aaron's Titan power. Hey. How? Don't know. Hey. You're not making any sense. As I said, Armin will not let Aaron die, so he will think about how Aaron can be useful by using his Titan power. That's why just believe in Armin. Vincent said that and got up, as he started walking towards where the foods were stored, and thought. I'm kinda hungry with all that moving. A/N, sorry for the delay. Getting out of the food storage, Vincent saw that a few soldiers were guarding it and couldn't help but be curious. Then walking towards the road where many soldiers lined up and heard what they were talking about, Vincent knew what's going on. Retaking Trost. Vincent then continued walking towards where the others are at, and stopped in front of Sasha and said, "Want some?" Vincent said that and gave Sasha a baked potato he just stole. "That's newly cooked and it's fresh." Before even Vincent finished explaining, the potato in his hand was long gone and was at Sasha's mouth and hand. "Well, that's a good mindset, Sasha, you're not nervous at all." "I'm kinda nervous and I'm hungry, so, yum yum." Happy eating. Vincent likes to give Sasha some potatoes whenever he has some spare ones. He likes her personality, and lastly, Sasha was a skilled soldier that she got into the top 10. He then looked towards the right of Sasha where Emer and Krista were at and said, "Krista. Hello sup. Did you know about this retaking Trost thing?" "Well, we just found out about it just now, so we're not sure either." "Are you too nervous?" Vincent said that, as retaking Trost was practically a suicidal move. "We're fine, and Vincent, don't you dare to flirt on Krista ever again." In response to that, Krista blushed as she said, "Emer." Vincent saw Krista's reaction and thought out loud, "Cute." Krista blushed hard as he heard what Vincent had muttered and thought, he did it again. He called me CCCCCC cute. How could he be so bold?" Emer was angry at Vincent and waved her hand wanting to slap Vincent's face, but Vincent easily dodged it and thought, "What an unreasonable woman. Vincent. You're flirting with Krista. Then. Attention." Up the top of the wall, a bald old man, known as Commander Pixis, shouted to get the attention of the people below him as he continued talking. "I will now brief you about the operation for retaking Trost. The goal of this operation is to block the shattered gate." Commander then stops and continues. "As for the means of blocking it, I shall now introduce him. This is Aaron Yeager of the recruits. He's the product of the military's top-secret Titan transformation experiments. He can summon a Titan body and control it at will." Near Vincent location. Connie couldn't help but ask him, "Vincent, I don't really get what the commander just said." "It's not because I'm stupid, right?" Vincent smiled wryly at Connie and said, "You're not stupid, Connie." "I'm right, Emer." Emer then looked at Connie and said, "You too stupid, shut up." Vincent then looked at Aaron as the commander then started talking about how to block the gate. Aaron Yeager will transform into a Titan, pick up that giant boulder near the front gate, carry it to the breach in the wall, and block off the hole with it. Your mission will be to protect him from the other Titans while he's carrying the boulder." The commander then stopped speaking as the people at the bottom didn't believe him one bit and thought that they will only be sacrificed and die today. But, the commander then started to speak again as the people started to leave and walk away. "Heed my command. Anyone who deserts right now will go unpunished. Once you've given in to your fear of the Titans, you will never be able to fight them again. Anyone who has succumbed to the terror of the Titans should leave. And anyone who wants that very same terror to reach the hearts of their brothers, parents, and loved ones may leave as well." Vincent looked back and saw that some of them stopped walking and started to walk back with a determined face, but some of them didn't turn back and just directly leave. People without family or even didn't care about their family, leave with no regrets. He then looked back at the commander as the commander started speaking. "Let's talk about what happened 4 years ago. About the Wall Maria recapture operation. I'm sure I don't have to remind you all. Calling it a recapture operation was just sugarcoating it. It was merely a desperate attempt by the government to dispose of the unemployed refugee masses they couldn't feed. Everybody swallowed that for one sole reason. By sending those people outside the wall, we managed to survive inside its narrow confines. That sin is borne by all mankind, including myself. Conflict didn't erupt then because the people of Wall Maria were a minority. But what about now? If Wall Rose falls, just throwing away a fifth of mankind wouldn't be enough. The area inside Wall Sina can only support half of mankind. If mankind itself falls, the onslaught of the Titans will not be the cause. We will fall because of men killing one another. We cannot die inside yet another wall. Given the choice, die here. The commander then stopped talking as Vincent then thought. What a powerful speech this guy delivered. So he's not a commander for show, hey. There's just one thing that bothers Vincent. How did the commander deliver his speech and still can hear on the top of a 50-meter wall? That's a mystery. As everyone was getting briefed by the tactics that they will use, a soldier then approached Vincent and said, "Recruit Vincent, you're needed in protecting Aaron." Flying on top of the wall, and spotting Aaron and the others, Vincent then approached Aaron and said, "Aaron, good luck. Don't worry, I will." Then a soldier approached them and said, "We're moving out. Commence operation." Vincent, Mikasa, and Aaron then follow the guy as they run on top of the wall. As they started running, the person in front of them said, "He said you're a top secret human weapon, but I don't care, as long as you block the hole. We'll prioritize protecting you over everything else. We're counting on you." "Yes, sir." Aaron answered as Vincent then said, "Aaron, don't worry about the Titans. Just focus on blocking the walls." "Thank you, Vincent. Big talk for a rookie." One of the veterans said that, and it is a white-hair girl. Her name was Rico. Vincent looked at her and said, "We'll see." After that, Mikasa then fired a lot of questions to Aaron. "Aaron, how do you feel?" "Yet." "Aaron." A/N, Mikasa is cute when she's worried about Aaron, but Aaron being dense AF, didn't know Mikasa's feelings, or he knew. Hee. Then, Aaron flew forward, towards the huge boulder. Vincent and the others then followed him as Rico fired a green smoke, signaling the start of the operation. Vincent then follows Aaron's movement closely, watching what Aaron will do as he transforms into a Titan. Then in mid-air, Vincent saw Aaron bite his arm and suddenly a yellow light consumed him as he transformed into a Titan. Vincent then saw Aaron's Titan form roar in front of the boulder, but Aaron in his Titan form didn't pick it and just turned around and at his back, and it is where Mikasa was it. Chapter 33, Human Raise Like Livestock. Luckily, Mikasa dodged in time. Vincent was surprised by this sudden development and thought while running towards Mikasa, who got sent flying from Aaron's punch. Aaron can't control his Titan power. "Mikasa! Get out of there!" The other elite squad too were surprised at Aaron's sudden behavior. Looking at Aaron, whose hands were ready to punch Mikasa again, Vincent used his ODM gear and flew towards the still shocked Mikasa. Swish air. Boom. Looking at his back and seeing the destruction of punch Aaron has, Vincent felt lucky that he dodged in time. "Aaron!" called out Mikasa on Vincent's arms, struggling to set free on his grasp. "Mikasa! Aaron can't control his power. Don't fight back. Aaron!" Mikasa's focus was on Aaron, and with a sudden boost of power, Mikasa broke free on Vincent's grasp, freeing herself. "Mikasa! This idiot!" Mikasa flew towards Aaron's face and started shouting. Ian, the squad captain, saw what Mikasa had done and shouted, trying to stop Mikasa. "Hey, that's enough. Get away from him. Aaron, don't you recognize me? It's Mikasa. Your family. You have to seal the hole with that boulder." Vincent saw the Aaron arm was tightening and couldn't help but said, and flew towards Mikasa. "That's enough, Mikasa." Struggling a bit, Vincent finally caught Mikasa and flew away, dodging the incoming fist. Boom! Landing as they roll on the roof. Vincent got up and saw the falling Aaron and thought, that was a stupid move. Aaron really has become a complete Titan. A mindless Titan. Seeing this, Vincent couldn't help but called out to the captain, Ian, and said, "Captain! Aaron can't control his power." I know." Looking at Aaron's state, Vincent couldn't help but feel disappointed. He really can't control his power, if only he can control it. Squad leader Ian. 2 Titan approaching from the front. A 10-meter class and 6-meter class Titans. Another at the rear. A 12-meter class is heading this way. Hearing this, Vincent couldn't but look at the Titans approaching. Ian, we're retreating. Sealing the gate is the least of his worries, the other guy from Elite Squad said that and looked down towards Aaron. Yet, we have no choice but to abandon him. Rico said that and agreed to the proposal of retreating. Hearing their all replies, Mikasa was angry and glared at them, making them look away from her. Vincent began to think of many things, weighing the pros and cons in this situation. Saving Aaron is the best choice, considering he's the only Titan I know that can transform into a human. But saving him will be problematic. How can I save him when he can't control himself? If only he can control it, I will not hesitate to save him, as saving him equals to saving and gaining the favor of Mikasa, a strong soldier. Looking at the sky, and remembering everything they did in the training camp and what he said in Armin. Family. I guess I have no choice. If there's a troublemaker son, I guess the parents are the only ones that can fix it. Hey, what are you waiting for? Give us the order. The buff guy, Mitabi said that and continued, Ian, it's not your fault. It was a faulty plan, to begin with. We all know that. It was certainly worth a shot, and we've given in to that already. Listen, we're going to climb back up the wall. In anger Mikasa began to tighten her grip on the sword, and ready to charge. Seeing this Vincent couldn't help but stop him, by holding on to her shoulder, tightening his grip. Mikasa. Don't worry, I will help you. Hearing this, Mikasa stops and looks at Vincent in gratitude and says. But, if we're the only two, no matter how strong we are, we couldn't stop all the Titans. That's why calm down. Look, Vincent said, pointed towards the contemplating face of Ian, and continued. He might not order us to retreat. Mikasa looked hopefully at Ian and Ian didn't disappoint her as he said. Rico's squad has the 12-meter class at the rear. Mitabi's squad and mine will take the 2 at the front. What? In response to Ian's order, Rico was stunned and asked angrily, but this didn't faze Ian as he replied. I'm the one who was appointed leader. Shut up and obey. We can't leave Jaeger unprotected like this. We'll modify the plan. Until we can recover Jaeger, we'll protect him from the Titans. Ian said that and looked down at Eren while saying, he holds the valuable potential for mankind. We can't give up on him that easily. Unlike us, there's no replacement for him, after all. Rico was stunned and looked at Ian and said, so you're telling me you want to carry on like this, despite losing hundreds of soldiers, all for that failure of a human weapon? That's right. No matter the cost, we must continue. Ian, are you serious? Rico shouted. Then how else can mankind defeat the Titans? Rico, tell me, what other options do we have to break this deadlock? A way to maintain our humanity and prevent losses, all while conquering the Titans' overwhelming power. How can we do that? There's no way I'd know how to defeat the Titans. Exactly. That's why we have no choice but to do this. We can only lay down our lives as brave sacrifices for that questionable human weapon. Tragic, isn't it? But it's the only thing left for us humans to do. Well, what'll it be? This is the best we've got. The only struggle we're capable of. Vincent, listening to their words, the words of Ian, felt emotional. Humans raise like livestock, and can only live inside a cage and only struggle. People of this world are very pitiful, at least in my previous life, dark as it may be, I'd explore the world. Captain! I will kill the 12-meter class Titan, you guys should defend Eren. Vincent, are you serious? Yeah, Mikasa, good luck, then bye. Wait. Using his ODM gear, Vincent flew towards the 12-meter class Titan and thought. I guess I only have to kill the rear Titans, the rest will have to depend on them. Ian looked at Vincent departing back, and looked at the two, Rico and Mitabi, and said. Are you two will be less courageous than a soldier who's just graduated? Fine. I'll obey your orders, and I will desperately struggle and show them how fearsome we humans can be. Dying in vain is the last thing I'd accept. I will assist Vincent on killing the 12-meter class Titan at the rear with my squad. Rico said that and began to fly towards Vincent, flying where the 12-meter class Titan was. Looking at the 12-meter class Titan, Vincent couldn't help but think of Aaron. At least Aaron is a 15-meter class Titan. Then, Cadet Vincent. Vincent looked at his back and saw Rico and her squad. We will help you. Rico shouted towards Vincent as he replied. Okay. Then. Looking at her front was now the 12-meter class Titan laid down, dead. Rico couldn't help but look at Vincent in awe and thought. This guy, he is at least strong like the people from the Survey Corps. And he only just graduated. Rico then called out towards one of her squad mates and asked. Hayron, what rank did Vincent get in trainees? First, ma'am. Vincent Glaze, hey. Such a strong guy. Rico looked at Vincent who was now flying towards their direction and thought. I wonder if he's still single. Chapter 34, Titan Shifters, 1. Wish. The situation is getting worse. Vincent said that and looked at the surroundings. Seeing a lot of people getting killed and crushed by Titans. Titans are still entering the walls endlessly, without stopping. If this goes on, people will be dead, before even the Survey Corps arrived. Recruit Vincent. Yes. Go assist Mitabi's squad. They're the one that needs your help, Rico said that as she landed near Vincent. Vincent looked at everyone in Rico's squad and thought. These guys are not bad, but they will be dead if I haven't intervened in some cases. But, she's right. Mitabi's squad are the one that fights the Titans head on. I need to help them, to lessen the damage. Yes, ma'am. Vincent then began to fly, where the Mitabi's squad was at. Recruit Vincent, reporting to join Mitabi's squad. Vincent said that, as he flew and cut the nape of the Titan, who's going to eat a member of one in Mitabi's squad. The Titan fell down, as the guy safely flew up, and thanks, Vincent. Thank you. You're welcome. Vincent said that and began to approach Mitabi, the squad leader. Captain, what's the situation here? Mitabi looked at the Titan, and Vincent as he said. Not good. Titans are still entering the gate, I already lost 2 members of my squad, and we're down to 3. If not for your timely rescue, we will be down to 2. Mitabi said that and looked at Vincent in gratitude, but, Vincent, we need to retreat near the boulder. We can't fight them all, even with you here. He's right. Titans are still entering the walls. No matter how many I kill, new Titans will still arrive. In the end, we need to seal that wall fast, but how? Vincent's thoughts got interrupted by sudden heavy footsteps. Is it the colossal Titan? Or the armored Titan? Or could it be? Looking at the area where the sounds came from, Vincent saw a huge boulder floating, with a rising steam covered in it. Everyone looks at the boulder in wonder. Vincent flew and landed on Ian's squad, with the rest of Mitabi's squad. He heard Armin, and thought. Aaron is in control of his Titan power. Then. Defend him. Ian shouted that, and continued with a grave expression, even if we have to die in the process, protect Aaron until he reaches the gate. Keep the Titans away at all costs. Then, without even knowing, Vincent saw at the distance. Mitabi's squad, that was supposed to be on his side, were now running and taunting the Titans. 2 Titans successfully got baited by Mitabi's squad, but Titans are still coming towards Aaron. Follow Mitabi's squad. Ian said that and jumped down the building and began to run towards the Titan. Armin, us too. Mikasa and Armin jumped down too, and began to bait Titans. Looking at this sight, Vincent couldn't help but be stunned in silence, and thought. Even though they were not that good, humanity's surviving until now was not a fluke. They were surviving because of the brave sacrifices the people, the soldiers did. Even though I am a killer in my previous life, disregarding the life of whom I killed, but still, in the end, I know some people that I wanted to protect. I know some people that I wanted them to live with. In the end, I have a heart, and I am a human. This is bad. I'm getting emotional right now, Vincent said that as he fixed his hair. Getting a rubber, and tying his now long-lost hair at the back, and tying it to the bun. For the first time, let's become a little unrestrained. Running to the roof, Jean and his squad began to move towards where Aaron was at. Let's go. They began to use their ODM gear, and fly towards Aaron. Then, whoosh! A flash of light passed by them. Jean saw the back of the guy, and thought. Vincent. Then, Jean and his squad saw an unbelievable scene. Vincent was now flying at an incredible speed. They saw how Titans were helpless to Vincent's might. 1, 2, 5, 8. In just a minute, Vincent killed 8 Titans, and Jean and his squad witnessed it. That's so cool. Connie said that as he looked at Vincent's departing back. Jean clenched his hand and thought. So strong. We're completely in a different league. But we can't do what Vincent did, but we can kill Titans one by one, and lure them in. Let's go. Jean and his squad flew towards Aaron's location, but they are now more eager, and not scared of them. Is it because of Vincent's display of power? Or is it because Vincent told them that humans can still fight Titans? Landing on the roof, Vincent heaved a long breath of air, and thought. That's hard, my body can't keep up with the speed I'm flying. If there's some method I can use to easily cut air without my body. But I can only stick with this. Vincent then began to go on a killing spree. Everywhere he goes, Titans laid down and become corpses. Saving people is his priority, but Vincent's advantage will not be useful in the ground, or places without buildings he can hook to. He looked at the walls, and down the hole where a Titan was still walking, and at Aaron who's now walking towards the made bridge. Vincent flew, and when he was now at the walls, he jumped down, landing on the Titan's head. With a jump, Vincent slashes its nape, making it go down. Vincent looked up and saw Aaron's walking towards the wall. It is our victory. But this is not the time to celebrate. Vincent flew towards the people, who are still fighting the Titans, and thought. Still not the time to celebrate. They are still alive. With one look back at Aaron. Fight, Aaron! With a roar, and a huge boulder blocking the hole. He then remembered everyone in the training camp that died here and thought. Everyone! Your deaths weren't in vain. And for the first time, mankind has defeated the Titans. Even though they won, Vincent then began to have a bad feeling. He looked left and right and found that there's nothing wrong. Vincent decided to fly towards where his guts told him to. Landing on the roof, and seeing Marco get restrained by Reiner. Hoy! What are two doing? Vincent said that with a calm voice at the two. Then landing on the roof beside him was Annie, who's looking at this scene with horror. What is this all about? Author's note. In the original scene, Marco got killed when Aaron picked up the boulder. But I added my little twist and decided to do it when Aaron blocked the hole. Hope you don't mind. Chapter 35, Titan Shifters, 2. Flying to the sky, Vincent saw how Reiner tackled Marco in the air while flying, ultimately crashing down on top of the roof. He was stunned when he saw this scene. Deciding to fly towards them fast, in case he misunderstood something. But he knew Marco well, and he was not someone who antagonized others for his selfish things. Within a second, Vincent caught up to them. Landing on top of a roof, Vincent looked down and saw how Marco got restrained by Reiner. Help me! Shouting in desperation, Marco's mouth got blocked by Reiner, who was on top of him, restraining Marco with his weight and strength. Landing on the roof. This noise caught the three off guard, as Marco looked and shouted at him. Vincent! Help me! Looking down dangerously at Reiner, Vincent said with grave expression. What's going on here? Looking at the two, Reiner and Berthold, who's likely the two accomplices in this matter. Explain. Vincent dragged his voice as he drew out his sword and continued, or I will have the two of you feel a little pain. This is bad. Reiner thought as he looked at Vincent on top of the roof, and back to Marco, who's shouting at Vincent to save him. Vincent have known now that we're going to silence Marco. Reiner then looked at Berthold, who's looking at him with scared expressions, whose eyes hurried him to tell what to do. We can't escape in this situation. Vincent is strong and I know we will not likely defeat him in this form. If that's then, I have to kill Marco now, and escape on this without him knowing our secrets. Reiner steeled his mind, and drew out his sword. Reiner! Are we really gonna kill him? Berthold said that with a scared voice. Killing Marco, or people with their own hands, never crossed his mind. But now, they have to do it or else, their secrets have to be known, and worst case, no, the humans, Eldians within the walls, will hunt them down. Surely. Yes. We can't let Vincent know our secret. It is best to silence Marco first. Reiner then drew his sword and swung it on Marco's neck with full force, when a flash of light passed by, and without knowing how, his hands were in the air, detached to his body. The feeling of gripping and swinging his sword with full force, was now gone like a cut-off string, as his whole hands had been literally cut off. Reiner never saw how his arms got sliced. The same as Marco, who's now gone miraculously in his front. Ah! Shouting in great pain at his hands getting cut off, Reiner was confused at this. The same for Berthold, who's looking at Reiner's arms in horror. What happened, Reiner? Berthold said that and walked closer to Reiner. Then, at their back, they heard a voice. You're going to kill Marco, why? Vincent looked at the two who's talking to each other, and thought. I'm being ignored. Vincent saw how Marco was shouting and looking at him and pleading to help him escape. Then he saw how Reiner drew his sword out without hesitation, preparing it to swing it down towards Marco. He's going to silence him, Marco. If ever Vincent was not here and someone like Mikasa, she will never be able to stop Reiner from killing Marco, but Reiner, you choose a wrong opponent and time. Time slow. The world becomes black and white. Objects and people began to move in slow motion. Not wasting this time, Vincent flew towards Reiner and cut his arms. After that, he picked Marco and flew at the roof in their back. Then, the world becomes back to normal. Vincent looked to his right, and saw Annie landed beside him. Annie, who just landed, looked at Reiner and Berthold and said, "What is this all about?" Vincent didn't bother to answer Annie, and looked back at the two and said, "You're going to kill Marco, why?" Reiner looked back at Vincent in anger and said, "Bastard! Why'd you do this? You ask me that despite wanting to kill Marco." Vincent felt like he heard the biggest joke of his entire life and began to laugh, "Ha ha ha ha! Reiner, I didn't know you can joke like that." Reiner, knowing what he said was dumb in this situation, but his anger get the better of him and shouted, "Damn bastard! Stop talking nonsense, and explain yourself. Or the next thing I will have to do is to not only cut your legs, but your neck will have to be ready too." Reiner looked at Vincent in anger, but knowing they can't defeat him and knowing people from the Survey Corps are here, they didn't have the chance to escape if they would have to fight Vincent here. He then looked at Vincent's side and saw Annie, hesitating for a bit before standing up while thinking. Whatever. Annie can be the spy. She most likely will not be able to defeat Vincent, and even if we fought him together and defeated him, it will waste a lot of time, and every second here is dangerous. Then, Vincent saw an unbelievable scene. He saw how, in the blink of an eye, the arms that should have been cut off, began to regenerate at an insane speed and grew back. He knew this world stored many secrets, like his powers and Aaron's transformation to Titan. But this scene really stunned him. And with grave a voice questioned Reiner. Who are you? Vincent looked at Reiner in seriousness. Reiner ignored him and just looked at Berthold and said, Berthold, let's get out of here. Reiner and Berthold began to fly over the wall. Marco, who now began to get his bearing back, began telling Vincent what he'd heard. Vincent, I think Reiner and Berthold are like Aaron. They can transform into titans. They want to silence me because of that. You should not let them go. Marco stands up and looks at Vincent. Vincent looked at Marco and Annie, and said, Marco, Annie. The Survey Corps are here. Climb up the wall and evacuate now. Vincent said flew towards where Reiner and Berthold flew. What about you, Vincent? I'm gonna go and chase those two. Report this on Commander Pixis or even people from the Survey Corps. Vincent then flew and disappeared at Marco's sight. Marco sighs at this and tells Annie. Annie, you saw that right? Reiner and Berthold maybe or actually a titan like Aaron. Marco then began to look around at his surroundings and said, Vincent said that we need to climb up the wall and report it to higher UPS. Marco said that but heard something on his back. It is a sword being drawn. WSHH. Marco looked back and saw Annie drawing out her sword, and said, What are you doing, Annie? Chapter 36, Titan Shifters, 3. Looking ahead of him and seeing the two fly, Vincent couldn't help but be amazed by their skills in using the ODM gear, and thought, these two are really talented. A pity that they were an enemy. Flying behind them and slowly closing in, Vincent then began to ready his sword. Then, with a flash, and a sudden acceleration, Vincent appeared beside Reiner, swinging his sword towards Reiner's neck. Reiner looked behind him and saw Vincent, hot in pursuit. He looked beside him and said to Berthold. Berthold! We can't do this, Vincent is closing in. Worst comes to worst, I have to transform and run, and escape through to the walls by climbing up. Berthold heard what Reiner had said and couldn't help but think. We have no choice. We didn't do this because we wanted to. Berthold looked at Reiner and nodded, agreeing to the plan. But then he saw someone suddenly appear at Reiner's side. Reiner watched out. Reiner heard the shout and looked to his side, seeing Vincent's sword coming swinging down in his direction. He hurriedly drew out his sword, grabbing and blocking the attack. Swinging his sword, Vincent saw that Reiner blocked him and was surprised. But he didn't stop and kicked Reiner at his head, making Reiner fly down, crashing towards the roof. Berthold hurriedly flew to Reiner's side, guarding him, as he looked at Vincent vigilantly, drawing his sword, and using it to intimidate Vincent. Landing on the roof, Vincent looked at the two and said, Is what Marco had said to me? Is it the truth? Berthold looked at Vincent and answered. What did he say? That you guys are like Aaron. You two can transform into titans. Berthold was stunned as his hands faltered for a second, confirming what Vincent had said were true. Reiner too was stunned and gnashed his teeth as he thought. Damn it! Leaving Marco alive is not the best choice. But, what's done is done. Marco is alive, and our secrets are exposed. Luckily, Annie is still there and will give us some information, from time to time. Reiner stood up, shaking his head. Damn, what a hard kick. It almost made me unconscious. Reiner looked at Vincent and said, Vincent, let us go, or else. Reiner then pointed towards the walls and continued, we will break the walls in another place. If you let us go, we will leave in peace. Berthold looked at Reiner stunned. Reiner, what about? Reiner glares at Berthold, as Berthold stops talking. He then looked back at Vincent and said, "So Vincent, we advise you two to let us go." "Let you go? You say?" Vincent looked at the two funnily, thinking that the two are mentally retarded. "Okay." Reiner and Berthold were stunned at Vincent's response and said, "US sure." Reiner never believes Vincent will really let them go. But then he saw Vincent putting back his sword and thought, what could he be planning? Anyway, we need to escape first. Reiner then began to step back, never leaving his eyes away to Vincent. Under this intense atmosphere, Vincent moved. He suddenly sped up and used his gas to make him fast and flew towards the two, appearing besides Berthold. Vincent then kicked him. Thud. A little bit delayed, Berthold blocked the attack using his sword. But Vincent's kick is no joke, as it flung him into the air. Jumping into the air, Vincent flew and approached Berthold, who's in confusion the entire time. Appearing in front of him, Vincent grabs Berthold's head and uses his knee to strike Berthold's chin, knocking him out. Reiner looked at this scene stunned. All this exchange happens in the span of 3 seconds. Berthold. Reiner was enraged and looked at Berthold's lifeless unconscious body, and thought, I don't have much a choice. Reiner then looked at Vincent in anger and said, Vincent, you push me too far. When I meet you again, I will kill you. Vincent looked at Reiner and said, you don't need to do that. I will kill you right now. Hearing that, Reiner then grabs the sword blade tightly, making his palm bleed. He looked at Vincent and said, we'll see. A flash of light appeared, and it consumed Reiner as a whole. Looking at this, Vincent then backs out as he jumped and thought, he's transforming. Then, as the lights subsided, the armored titan appeared in thin air. The armored titan then grabbed the unconscious Berthold and began to run towards the wall. Garrison's side. Jean appeared on top of the wall and saw blinding lights appear out of nowhere. He looked in that direction, the same with Connie. Connie, did Aaron transform again? And no. They said they lock him in an underground dungeon. Connie answered in confusion. Jean looks at it while thinking. Is that what happens when Aaron transforms? And if it is not Aaron, who could possibly be? Everyone on top of the wall saw the lights and thought the same too. The garrison members were full in their hands, rescuing people from the front lines. But luckily the newly arrived Survey Corps was just in time. The Survey Corps then dispatched people and went towards where the lights were. And it was led personally by the commander, Erwin Smith, the section commander, Hang Zoe, and last but not the least, the strongest person in humanity, Captain Levi. Wish. Tink. Swinging his sword mercilessly, Vincent's sword broke. He then landed on the roof and thought. It was hard. The sword never even leaves a scratch. Drawing another sword, Vincent then began to fly again and look ahead. The walls are near. I need to hold him down, but how? Wish. Another minute of chasing and the walls are within the reach. Vincent then looked at his hand. My hands are numb. I'm out of blades. **T, what a tricky opponent. Looking ahead of him, Vincent saw how Reiner put Berthold onto its mouth and started climbing the walls. I can't do anything, what the heck? Then, he heard at the distance the sound of ODM gear flying fast. Looking behind, and seeing a group of people in green robes. Vincent knew them at a glance. And they are the Survey Corps. Landing, all 15 of them landed near him. They looked at what was in front of them and saw a titan, the armored titan climbing the wall. Then they look at Vincent, as one of them said. Brat, explain what the hell happened. Chapter 37, Titan Shifters, 4. Brat, explain what happened. Frowning at what he heard, Vincent looked at the one that spoke and saw a short guy, who had slight disregard in his eyes as he looked at Vincent and the armored titan. Vincent didn't quarrel with them and said, There's no time to explain everything. The armored titan is escaping. I will tell you all later the whole truth. And, we should first stop that guy from escaping and climbing up the walls. The blonde-hair guy, Erwin Smith, nodded at what Vincent had said, and said. He's right. Levi's squad, go and test the armored titan. Let's see if the report about it was true. If it is impenetrable or not. Erwin then looked at Vincent and said. What's your name? Vincent Glaze, sir. Erwin nodded and began to lead everyone to attack. After saying all the plans, Erwin looked at Vincent and said. Recruit Vincent, you need to get out of here. We will take over everything from here. Wish you good luck, sir. Erwin nodded. Everyone from the Survey Corps began to attack the armored titan. Vincent once again looked at them and thought. Useless. They can't harm the armored titan, without peeling the armor on its body. He then specifically looked at Reiner, the armored titan's arm, and saw the crystal-like on it and thought. Whenever its armor is cracking and about to peel off, those annoying powers of crystal manifest and shield him from my sword. I guess they won this time. Unless a miracle happens. They wouldn't win and kill that guy. Vincent began to ready his ODM gear and fly, while thinking. I need to know who they are. And if my memory serves me correctly, Reiner and Berthold weren't the only ones in the same village. There's one more trainee with them. Vincent's eyes began to turn cold and said in a low voice. Annie Leonhardt. WSHH. Getting up the walls. Vincent looked down at the town. His eyes began to turn colder and colder at every second he looked at it. He looked at the distance and saw Reiner, the armored titan, finally got up on the walls. Even though he's not in a good shape, peeled off arms, cuts on its legs. Undoubtedly he still can run and escape. Vincent then began to run towards where the gate was. He's almost out of gas on his travels and fights with the armored titan. His blades were all gone, broken by the sheer amount of hardness the armored titan, body armor. After some time and seeing a bunch of cannons being gathered and pointed down, towards the Sea of Titans. This is their best choice to kill all of them without or a little loss of life. Spotting Ian, his previous captain in his previous mission. Stopping in front of him and said. Sir. Recruit Glaze, what happened? Vincent then began to report his encounters and everything happened. His report outstanded Ian, as he looked at the armored titan in the distance and thought. So he's the one that made that armored titan appeared. Ian looked at Vincent and said. I will report that to the commander. And I know you're exhausted about all the happenings. So, go and rest first. Yes, sir. But. What is it? Is there a guy named Marco who reported it before me? Marco. Nope, there's no guy named Marco reported that, Ian thought for a second before saying as he looked at the trainee in front of him, and thought. What a talented lad. Vincent's eyes become cold, but his face never changes as he said. Then, I go now, sir. Rest well. Ian saw a flash of coldness in Vincent's eyes and thought it as an illusion, and replied. Vincent then began to walk towards the end of the walls, and jumped. Vincent began to walk towards the camp, in search of Marco's whereabouts. His heart began to turn cold, as his assumption might become true. Searching for some time, but no news of him was found. Marco and Annie's whereabouts are unknown. Then, Vincent saw Marco with Annie in his tow, appearing, walking towards his direction. Even now he doubted Annie. No, his assumptions might be right, and was thankful for her not killing Marco. He looked at Marco and said. Why are guys late? Marco scratched his head with his arms. Looking at Annie and began explaining what happened. Well, my gear malfunctions and Annie carries me here. That's why we're late. Vincent nodded and thought. Hopefully, that's happened. I thought Annie killed Marco for a second. Marco, did you report about Reiner and Berthold? Yeah, I just reported a while ago. The captain said that you were searching for me, so I immediately went down and searched and found you here. Vincent then began to think about Reiner and Berthold. Reiner, Berthold, and Annie's hometown were the same, so my suspicion for her will not be gone. I will ask her now. Marco, leaves us Annie alone for a second. I need to tell her something. Marco looked at Vincent knowingly and nodded and said. Okay, good luck. With Marco's gone from the scene, Vincent looked at Annie and saw her looking down at the ground, nervous. Vincent sighed, as Annie's flinch from it. Sigh. Follow me. Vincent then began to walk towards the nearby forest. Vincent looked at the pond in front of him. On his side was Annie in silence. He looks at her and remembers the time with her in the training camp. Sigh. Sighing once more, Vincent began to speak. Is Reiner and Berthold, the same town as you? Annie began to shiver and stayed silent. Vincent looked at Annie and said with a frown and cold voice. Answer me, Annie. Annie looked up and saw Vincent's cold eyes, looking at her. Annie lowered her head in fear. Vincent silently looks at Annie, as she answers. Yes. Sigh. Vincent sighs as he looks at the pond in front of him. His sigh was heavy from the ear of Annie. Those sighs carried the disappointment of Vincent, as Annie began to sob quietly. Looking at Annie, Vincent couldn't help but say. Why? Those words broke Annie, as she began to cry and drop to the ground. She was saying sorry. Under her soft cry. Sorry, sorry, sorry. Vincent closed his eyes and thought. So this is the meaning of what she said that night. His eyes began to turn cold and said. Get up. Tell me why all of you are doing this. Annie didn't want to lie anymore and began telling their missions. Powers, secrets, and the truth. Vincent began to question Annie, as she answered honestly. Annie said all of that, while looking at the ground. Then. Annie. Yes. Do you love me? Stunned at the sudden question. Annie blushed as she stuttered in response. Why yes. Then get up. Annie looked up and saw Vincent's warm smile directed at her. Feeling that Vincent forgive her, she said. Do you forgive me for all I have done? Vincent didn't answer and just reached his hands towards Annie. Understandably, Annie knew that for Vincent to forgive him was close to zero. Reaching Vincent's hand and getting up, he heard Vincent speak. Do you love me? Annie looked away, shy. But Vincent said. Look at me in the eye, and answer me. Annie looked at Vincent's eyes, and saw his dark and abyss-like eyes, and answered. Yes, I love you, Vincent. Then I will forgive you. Really? Annie was stunned at Vincent's sudden forgiveness. I will forgive you, in one condition. Anything. I will do anything. Annie readily nodded and answered. Vincent looked Annie in the eyes and slowly said. I will forgive you, and so. Die. A/N. Wait, what? New chapter. Tuesday. If you guys are wondering, and for your information, it is my birthday. Thank you for all you guys reading my fan fic. Thank you for the patrons. This is my gift. And be sure to gift me too. Power Stone. And encouraging words will do. Asterisk to celebrates my birthday. New chapter today. Asterisk to celebrates my birthday. New patron tier is out. You guys can now read up to 15 chapters. Check out my p.a.t.r.e.o.n. Patreon link, https://www.patreon.com/can you make it clear. 15 advanced chapters. Join my Discord server. Discord link, https://discord.gg/ftmcfa2. He. And happy advanced and late birthday to all of you guys. PSST. What a chapter to celebrate my birthday, okay, hand sign. PSST join my Discord server. Smiling face with open mouth and cold sweat person with folded hands. Chapter 38, Aaron's Trial. Walking out of the forest alone. Vincent's eyes were cold as he came back to the camp. Looking at the sky with his unfocused eyes, Vincent muttered in a low voice. Titan shifters. Since I know it now, my plan has to be altered. Afterward, thanks to the Survey Corps and the garrison engineers' quick response, Wall Rose had once again repelled the Titans' advance. An entire day was required to eradicate the Titans from Trost district, with the wall's fixed cannons firing around the clock. High explosive shells annihilated the majority of the Titans swarming the wall, and the Survey Corps eliminated the few that remained. The unexpected appearance didn't make the humans afraid, but instead proud, that they make it retreat beyond the walls, fleeing in sorry states. But, the Survey Corps was not happy about that, as most of the people that followed it, the armored Titan, were either dead or retreated in fear of getting swarmed by outside Titans. With this, the Survey Corps was further convinced to eliminate them. Furthermore, a 4-meter class and 7-meter class Titan was captured alive, making them a test subject on how to kill the armored and colossal Titan and find their weaknesses. On the other hand, 208 soldiers were killed or missing in action, and another 897 were injured. Repelling the Titans for the first time in history was a noteworthy feat, but simply far too many lives had been lost to allow for celebration. Walking around the deserted place of Trost, blood can be seen across the streets. Many mangled bodies of who knows who were just sitting around, everywhere. Seeing the damage the Titans made, Vincent's decision of doing and his further plan get solidified. Walking towards a dead body, Vincent could see the horror on the guy's face. The dead bodies need to be gathered and burned, to avoid any pandemic or virus spreading around. Sizzle. Looking in front of him, and seeing one by one, bodies